Broadcast Center, live shows, and the latest coverage of NDSU athletics.
Director of Athletics Matt Larson joining us. Head coach Matt Entz with us in studio.
It's all presented by Theraldson Ethanol, helping North Dakota lead the energy revolution. Join their growing team by visiting TheraldsonEthanol.com.
Sugar beet season is in full swing. Are you having issues with your bedliner while hauling? Contact Horn Plastics today. Horn Plastics has industry-leading bedliners that will guarantee you get every dime out of your haul. With a superior slide bedliner, you'll not only prolong the life of your equipment, you'll increase the amount of material in each load, increase the number of loads per day, which in turn makes you more money. Call today for a free estimate or to get your install scheduled. Online at hornplastics.com. That's hornplastics.com.
Hi, this is Cody Mout. After a long week of practice and a W on Saturday, I like to slide into Herd & Horns to see my friends, family, and teammates. Join your friends and family at Herd & Horns for all NDSU home and away games this season. Stop in on Sundays to watch your favorite former players and my teammates play in the NFL too. Herd & Horns is conveniently located on 12th Avenue North across from the NDSU campus. Your number one destination for burgers, beer, and bison is Herd & Horns. Go Bison.
Farmers Mutual of Nebraska, proudly serving Bison Nation with reliable insurance coverage for your auto, farm, and home. Powered by unmatched financial strength and a prompt claim service team, let us put our more than 130 years of industry experience to work for you. Visit fmne.com to contact your local agent for a quote today. Farmers Mutual of Nebraska, always alongside you.
Truck Headquarters. Gateway Chevrolet has new Chevy trucks arriving daily. Buy your new Chevy Silverado at Invoice. Yes, Invoice pricing on new Silverados with a fresh look, new interiors, and larger screens with easy-to-use technology. Save thousands on new Chevy Silverados with 4 different motors available. Dynamic fuel management, Bluetooth, backup camera, Apple CarPlay, and more. Save thousands and enjoy the smooth ride in your new Chevy Silverado from Gateway Chevrolet. Find new roads. Details gatewayfargo.com.
KQWB, West Fargo, Fargo-Moorhead, and KPFX, HD3 Kindred, Bison 1660. Powered by Gateway Chevrolet, Cadillac, Nissan, and Hyundai in Fargo.
We are Sports. And here's what you need to know.
Commanders coach Ron Rivera deflected when asked if quarterback Taylor Heineke showed enough to supplant Carson Wentz as QB1 when Wentz recovers from a fractured finger, saying, quote, "When we get to that position, then I'll deal with it," end quote. NFL media says the NFL is investigating 2 officials for violating league rules after video showed them approach Buccaneers receiver Mike Evans and ask for his autograph after yesterday's game in Carolina. The Cowboys announced corner Jordan Lewis suffered a season-ending foot injury. ESPN reports 49ers practice squad running back Marlon Mack is signing with the Broncos and will travel with the team to London for Sunday's game against the Jaguars. Patriots quarterback Mac Jones expected to play tonight against the Bears. And The Athletic reports the Big Ten is sticking with football divisions for the 2023 season, and then they will create a new model when UCLA and USC join the conference in 2024. I'm Nick Cope.
You've got the insiders.
How you play today, from this moment on, is how you will be remembered.
That's what living is. That's right. The 6 inches in front of your face.
Bringing you what you need to know and a whole lot more. Topics you care about, guests you know, and the conversations you came to hear. The Insiders are presented by Proseed. Need seed? Think Proseed.
This is your time. Now go out there and take it.
Oh, baby! Now, here are the Insiders.
The Insiders.
The Insiders.
The Insiders.
Insiders.
Rob Hipp and Andy Rickoff.
Oh, it feels good to be back. Back in with you. Theraldson Ethanol Broadcast Center. It's a Monday. I'm back. Feels good.
Yeah, and
refreshed,
back, baby.
Recharged.
No bear attack. Back at home.
No chunks taken out of me from a bear or a bobcat or a mountain lion. Great to be back here with you. Andy Rickoff, Rob Hipp, Micah Bindi, the Insiders, and a Monday morning meat sandwich of overreaction. And I'm sitting here right now in our Theraldson Ethanol Broadcast Center watching the Packers end of the game with all the weird laterals and then Aaron Rodgers face down in the dirt because the Packers lost to Washington and the Vikings are on the bye and feeling good. Feeling really, really good.
Aaron Rodgers has his hair, slicked back. Looks like an old school Steven Seagal there. He just needs to put it in a ponytail and, a time to kill. That'd be a good image for him.
I feel like he cut it down. Wasn't it super long before?
He cut it down, but it's kind of like the shorter on the sides and longer on top, so it can be slicked back. But
go man bun with it.
When he has a helmet, it gets super wonky, and he looks frustrated. Just his hair looks frustrated, and that matches his
helmet,
his face.
Yeah, a little bit. Great to be back in with you. Obviously, was gone last week. Thank you to Rob. Thank you to Kyle Emanuel. Should make sure we make a shout out for Kyle right away for stepping in for an entire week. He's basically the third host of the show at this point. He did it for 2 months with me, and then all last week with Rob. But thanks to Rob and Micah for holding down the fort. Nice to know I can go somewhere. And, it wasn't on fire too much when I came back. A couple little patches of burnt stuff I had to put out with a fire extinguisher, but not too bad.
You missed Frito pie on Friday, by the way.
That is what I'm upset. And you had to bring it up right away.
Yeah.
I heard about this, and I've never had Frito pie. I listened a little bit here and there. I obviously didn't listen to the show all of last week. I listened, bits and pieces, because we can podcast the show whenever you want, however you want. Thanks to all of our podcast forms. You can go on Spotify, Apple Podcasts, Google Podcasts, our website, bison1660.com. Wherever you want to find podcasts, you can find them of the show. So I did listen to them. And I heard about Frito pie that was brought in. Was it on Friday it was brought in?
It was on Friday. Yeah. Bridget whipped it up. It did smell like onions here in the studio.
I heard you were calling it a free-flowing Friday.
We had a free-flow Friday.
You missed the golden opportunity. Should have been a Frito pie Friday.
Should have been. We may start
golden
that.
Opportunity.
We may start that every Friday.
But I'm upset that I missed out on free food because Matt Larson was in during the week, and then Kyle Emanuel's in, and you're bringing in Frito pie, and I've been with you for a month and never got Frito pie. But.
Well, that's just how it goes. Micah, he was craving it. He never had it, and then you missed our segment about accents, and we were having fun about bags, not bags, but bags.
Bags.
So that was a lot of fun.
Mm-hmm. Cornhole bags. I call it bags, personally.
He pronounces it wrong.
He does.
Now you're outnumbered.
See, yeah, yep. Kyle and I were, because he was from Nebraska, so I said the farther south you go, the turns into ah.
Oh,
and
absolutely.
Then,
Yep. Mm-hmm. But now you're outnumbered. Me and Micah have, we do this thing right. The only thing I'll be outnumbered on is the game Duck, Duck, Gray Duck.
Goose.
Duck, Duck, Gray Duck is how you play that game. It's a Minnesota guy. Only place that plays it the right way in the entire world. It's kind of strange. But back in with you. Excited to be back in. It does feel nice. It's good to get away. Everyone that has a job, out there listening, you know it. It's nice to have a vacation, get away for a little bit, and to be gone for that bye week was a nice recharge. Obviously, there's a lot of things that went on during the offseason with Jeff and Keith both moving on to different opportunities, so taking over a lot of responsibility here, waiting for Rob to get in. You got in and felt settled enough where I could go away for a week, so I appreciate you stepping in and taking care of that last week for me.
Yeah, man. The first 2 months, you were probably thinking, like, God, is this guy ever going to get it? Am I ever going to be able to leave? And then finally figured out the radio automation software. Yep. It's weird, Andy. You know this. When you come into a new situation, I mean, we used to use different equipment, different playout systems. That's all radio jargon for those listening. Nobody cares. But you come in, and you think, like, man, this is so much. And then once you start doing it, you realize, this isn't that bad.
Yeah,
I've got this
different ways to do the same thing you've done before.
I've got this in the bag.
In the bag. There you go. So it's good to be away. Obviously, if you didn't know, I spent some time in Colorado and Utah. Went to 3 different national parks. Won't talk about the trip a whole lot, but it was a fun time. I encourage you out there, if you're listening, go out and see some of the cool sights in this country and this world, because nature's pretty awesome, pretty beautiful. But didn't get eaten by a bear like my mom expected me to, and I think my sisters expected me to as well. I did have bear spray if needed, but didn't have to use it. Literally, the wildlife I saw was a chipmunk and a couple of geckos. That's as crazy as it got. Didn't even see like a deer or anything like that. So
did you do some skillet cooking at least? I mean, what kind of cooking did you do?
Well, freeze dried meals, like literally camping. So tent camping, not middle of nowhere, but BLM land, Bureau of Land Management land is basically where I was camping. So free stuff. You kind of find your spot along the Colorado River for 2 nights and 1 night in Gunnison, Colorado, by the Gunnison River in Black Canyon of the Gunnison River National Park. And then the other 2 parks were in Utah, in Moab, which are Arches and Canyonlands National Parks. So I love to get out there in nature and see some stuff. I'd never been to Arches, really wanted to get there, and realized when I was in Colorado that I was pretty close to it, closer than I thought I was on the western side of the state, so decided to make the 2.5-hour jaunt over there, and very, very happy I did. If anyone out there is a big national parks person and they haven't been to Arches, 100% recommend it. That's my favorite one I've been to. I've been to a couple of them. But good to be back. Nice to be back here in the chair inside our Thoroldson Ethanol Broadcast Center. And nice to be back to a game week, too. I know for the bye week, the coaches probably it's not really an off week for them. They're here, they're working, they're doing a lot of self-scouting. But this is now back to a game week, and it's an important game week too. And it's NDSU versus Illinois State as the Redbirds come into town. So I'm looking forward to that game on Saturday. Obviously, that means press conference today. Head coach Matt Entz has his game week press conference at 2 o'clock from the Shack. Brought to you here on this station by the great team at Bonanza Egg. And then tonight, the Bison Football Radio Show and all that kind of stuff kicking right back up once again. So game week, back to the grind of the season, which is a good thing.
Yeah, I got in this morning. I was telling Mike a while ago, I got back in this morning, Andy, and I kind of felt out of rhythm. You know, you get in this routine, and then last week the routine changed. Mm-hmm. And so I got back in this morning. I was like, oh, I got to do game day copy. I got to do intro copy. I've got to do affiliate promos. It just felt weird, but it felt good. Mm-hmm. Felt good to get back into that routine.
Yep, it does. It's kind of crazy when you're in a routine how quickly you can get out of it, and then how difficult sometimes it is to get back into it. You have to do it for like a couple of weeks before you feel you're back in that routine. But if you take 1 week off, then all of a sudden things seem a little bit crazy. But good to be back into the game week. It's an important game because obviously NDSU coming off of a loss their last time out. They are taking on a team that I would not be sleeping on in Illinois State, who has won 3 in a row. They got a win against Indiana State over the weekend, and also they have won 5 of their last 6, playing better on offense, a couple of playmakers on defense. So we'll break that down a little bit more as we go on throughout the week. But this is not – I think this is steering a little bit closer to the Illinois State from 14, 15, 16 than it is the Illinois State from 21 and 20, where they were really, really bad, and there was some internal turmoil, it seemed like, between coaching staff and players there. Based off reports, and things just really were not going the right way. They've started to right the ship, and I trust Brock Spack and that coaching staff. I'm not going to say this is a team that should make the playoffs or is one of the better teams in the Valley or the FCS, but this is a team that's gotten some pieces, and I trust the coaching staff. So this is not by no means an easy game inside the Forgo Dome on Saturday. This is a pretty good Illinois State team with a decent quarterback in Zach Ennickstead as well, who's throwing the ball pretty well, a transfer from Minnesota to Illinois State, so they haven't had a quarterback in a little while. Looks like they got a guy that can sling it just a bit and some playmakers on the outside. So that is the opponent for the Bison. We'll dive into that today on the show. Obviously, Phil Hansen. It's a Monday game week, so Phil will join us to break down what's happening this weekend for the Bison. Also, maybe recap his vacation. He was in a much more sunny area, I guess, Cabo, I believe, for one Phil Hansen. So get his thoughts on the bye week and also on NDSU, what you got to do at this point going forward for the Bison to get back on track and try and track down SDSU and the other teams, not just in the Valley, but in the FCS as well, trying to fight for one of those top seeds in the playoffs. At noon, we'll talk with our good friends from Red River Commodities, your corporate game week sponsor, bringing you all of our coverage of NDSU and Illinois State this week. And also, Panic or Patience, NFL edition of Panic or Patience in the second hour. What teams are we starting to panic about? Because there were some very interesting scores from yesterday in the NFL, and what teams are you saying, it's okay, let's just be patient about them, they're going to be fine. Mainly the Tampa Bay Buccaneers, who lost to the Carolina Panthers. They put up, I believe, 6 points against the Carolina Panthers.
Rob is getting closer and closer to his Panthers get second in the NFC South prediction because that division's bad.
That division's bad. It is worse than anybody could have imagined. I knew it was going to be bad going in, but I thought there'd be one good team, and that good team is now under 500. It's they lost to the Panthers, who don't have a running back. They traded Christian McCaffrey. They don't have a quarterback. They're playing with an XFL guy, P.J. Walker, and they don't have a head coach. But somehow the Buccaneers managed to lose that game and lose it pretty convincingly to Carolina. The Green Bay Packers, as we already mentioned, lost to Washington. Or is it panic or patience on them? So those teams and a couple other ones will play some panic or patience in the second hour of the show. As always, we want your input on it too. 701-476-1660, the Epic Companies hotline for you. Give us a call there, or you can text us at that same number. You can also email the program. The Rick Electric email inbox is open for you, studio@bison1660.com, the ways to take in the show. You can also watch the show on our Facebook page on the Horsch Cam, Horsch Forming with Passion, online at Horsch.com. Our Facebook page is Bison1660. You can watch the shows there. Appreciate everybody watching the shows with us on this Monday. Again, good to be back in. I did miss some things. So in the first segment, I kind of wanted to go over what I missed and get caught up on things. You know, when you're gone, you miss some things. I didn't really check the email. I kind of disconnected completely. So I had to catch up on a few things yesterday and today. And I think in the sports world, the NDSU world as well, I got to catch up on a couple of things. So I want to give us a little football bed music. We can play a little catch up on a couple of things that need to be mentioned off the top here. First off, NDSU and SDSU. I didn't get to say anything about it, other than the post-game show on that Saturday. And we're moving past it. We're done now, right? And you have the bye week. We're flushing this game. But I'll give you some thoughts on it quickly. As I texted out after, or tweeted out after the game, I hear you, Bison Nation. I'm upset about it, too. You hate losing that game. It's a big game. It's a rivalry game. You hate losing it, especially losing it now 3 times in a row. Really, really sucks. I get it. You said panic or patience of NFL teams. I'm going to ask you to be patient with NDSU. Be patient. Especially, let's wait for this game on Saturday. Because now you've had the bye week. The bye week's where you correct things. Where you get a chance to actually focus on yourself and not the opponent. You get a chance to maybe correct the tackling. Maybe you talk about playing through the whistle and, okay, let's adjust a few things there because we had some penalties on that. You get a chance to correct a couple of things possibly. So be patient with this team. Because you saw in that first half how good the team can be. That's how good they can be. Now, this team, I'll say, in past teams, there's always been a little bit of variation. Every team, even the great national championship teams for NDSU. There's been the highs and lows in all those seasons. Remember the 2019 undefeated year championship? They scored 9 points in a playoff game. There's been a little up and down. But some teams have had a little more variation to their games, and some have had a little less inconsistencies to their games. I would say this team just has some more inconsistency, a little wider variation of how well they can play and sometimes how poorly they can play. They're trying to figure out how to close that gap and make themselves a little bit more consistent. Unfortunately, they just haven't been consistent enough in games. They've had a bad half here and then a really, really good half at different points. They just need to find a way to be more consistent. So be patient with them. They'll figure this thing out. I have all the faith. I think you guys mentioned it on Monday. I know I mentioned it after the games. No one got fired. I checked the coaching staff this morning. I don't think anybody was fired during the bye week, last I checked. Nobody should have been fired because that was insane. That's just stupid. This team won a national championship last year. No one's getting fired, obviously. But I like that there's expectations. So, fan base who's upset, I get it. There's expectations here. I like that you're upset because losing that game means something to you then. If you were like, okay, whatever, nobody cares, then that'd be a little concerning that game doesn't mean enough. But obviously it means a ton. You hate losing it, especially 3 times in a row. This team can be good. They're just a little inconsistent. They'll figure some things out. If you had told me they weren't going to score through their first 3 drives against SDSU, I would have told you you're ridiculous because they looked unstoppable on those first 3 drives. Just some things you got to correct. They will. Starts with Illinois State. Chances of winning the Valley are very slim. I'll just be upfront about it, especially since SDSU was able to beat UND over the weekend. Got a win up in Grand Forks in a game that was a little iffy at half, but I believe it was a 21-0 third quarter for SDSU, and ran away from the Fighting Hawks in the second half. So they're going to win the conference. It's just more than likely, based off the rest of their schedule. UNI, they could trip up, but I don't see them tripping up there, and they have to trip up twice for NDSU to have a chance to win the conference. So SDSU is probably going to win the Valley this year. Okay? I know the number one goal is the Valley because that leads you to other things, but the number one goal going into a season is raising the national championship. Hopefully that's still going to happen for NDSU, and I still think it definitely can happen for NDSU. Top 2 seed, not out of the question at all. We'll go over some of the scores from the weekend and how that factors into things, but the Big Sky is now starting to cannibalize itself. We have seen that. The CAA, no one's. Maybe you have Delaware or William & Mary could be in the conversation if they run the table the rest of the way, but I don't see that happening for either of those teams. I think they'll trip up one more time, probably each, in the CAA. So the top 2 seed's not completely out of the conversation. It really isn't. NDSU's schedule is tough the rest of the way because you do have Southern Illinois and UND on that slate. And again, I said Illinois State this week. It's no gimme at all. The Redbirds are playing extremely well. But top 2 seeds not out of the realm of possibilities, and I'm just going to ask you to be patient. And also, to echo what was said after the game, loved the atmosphere inside the Fargo Dome. That was raucous. It was fun. That's about as loud as I have heard it for a regular season game. Oh, boy, since 2015? 26. It goes back a little ways for me for a regular season. And there's been some playoff games like the JMU game just last year, a ridiculous environment, right? But for a regular season game, that was electric, and you clearly had a massive impact because there was 5 false starts in the first half for SDSU. So shout out to Bison Nation. You guys were great. Loved it. But I'm going to ask you just be patient with this team. That fair? Be patient.
Just breathe in. We talked about it all last week, guys. Just breathe in, breathe out, take a deep breath, do a little yoga.
Yeah.
No, don't do yoga. I tried to do yoga. It doesn't work. Just breathe. It's cheaper just to breathe in and out instead of taking yoga.
Sam Herder had the tweet a few weeks ago. It was after the Indiana State game, I believe, that it wasn't an impressive win. They won by a small margin. Mm-hmm. But is this the NDSU team that gets better and better and better? I think that is this team, and we're going to see them rolling as we get into the playoffs.
And again, bye week, fix some things, self-scout, focus on some stuff. We'll see. I'm kind of interested not to see, I don't think there's going to be a ton of changes on the 2 deep or anything. They're going to move everybody around and panic, because this team doesn't panic, and you shouldn't panic when you lose to a really good team in SDSU. Let's just call it what it is. They're a really good team for a reason, a number 1 team in the country. You shouldn't panic by losing to that team, but I'll be interested to see if there's a few things that kind of change here or there, or something that kind of alters, game plan wise, or what they do there during the bye week, because there is a lot of self scouting that goes on. The other thing that got to get caught up on of what happened over the week. I'm sure you guys talked about it during the week, but Phoenix Sproul is deciding to leave the team and deciding to transfer. I've loved our interactions with Phoenix. I've loved getting to know the kid. Best of luck to him. He's more than free to do whatever he wants and pleases. I've been on the record, and I'll say it again, I think it's just dumb to transfer during the season, because you literally can't transfer during the season. You can leave the team and announce you're wanting to transfer, but you can't go anywhere. So that I don't get what it means, or what the benefit of it is, especially now you can't train with the team, do any of that kind of stuff. You're away from football for a while. I just don't see how it's beneficial to the player personally. But decided to move on. A good dude, good player. Been fun to kind of watch him grow and to kind of see him and talk to him on the radio. I'm being completely honest. Zach Mathis and DJ Hart were better. Let's just call it what it was. And I'm not trying to be mean to Phoenix on the way. That's not at all what it is. DJ Hart was really good against SDSU. I think we saw how good he can be. And Zach has made impact plays against SDSU. Not to say you can't have 3 receivers, but those 2 guys are higher in the depth chart than Phoenix is, or was the last couple of weeks before he decided to transfer. And that's just the long and short of it. And I don't think that's being unfair. Again, I like Phoenix. Wish him the absolute best wherever he goes. But NDSU is going to be okay moving on at that wide receiver position, because they got some studs who are young studs who will be really, really good.
I'd imagine it's the communication part, because once you're in the portal, you can talk to teams. I don't know the NCAA rules, but once you're in the portal, I believe that's when
I'm sure people will reach. I don't know if coaches can, but there's people that will. It's the wild, wild west in college. The main reason people do it, if I'm being honest, in my opinion at least, it gets their name out there. It's recognition. It's so people can see that, hey, I'm transferring. It gives me some publicity. I can talk about that kind of stuff. And it's a move on point. You get to a point, I'm sure, you get to a point at your job or your career where I just want to move on. I'm just done with it. And maybe that was the point he was at. Who knows? I'm not going to try and speculate what was going on with Phoenix's mindset, what was going on there, but he decided to move on. Is what it is. NDSU's got plenty of receivers. They're going to be just fine.
Yeah, we talked a lot last week about that, and just DJ Hart, and I've kind of coined it the heartbeat of the receiving corps, and not to be cliche, but he is. I mean, this young man is someone who stepped up. He played phenomenally well against SDSU. We've talked about Zach Mathis, 5 catches 2 weeks ago, or a week and a half. What are we, a week and a half ago?
Yeah, something like that.
Yeah,
week and a couple days.
The bye week has kind of thrown things off. But yeah, Zach Mathis has been those guys. So
Jake Lippy's made some plays too.
Lippy's been out there. I like where this receiving core is, and as you said, man, we wish Phoenix the best. A good guy, but it's just like you said. Sometimes you're just ready to move on, and that's okay, because we've got other guys that are going to step up, and they have stepped up. They've been those guys this season already.
Yeah, and clearly you're going to run the football quite a bit. You got plenty, and let's not forget, when talking about receivers, Hunter Lipke can catch the ball too. We've seen that more than a time or two this season. So they got plenty of receiving options. They'll be okay in the passing game. I wish them the best of luck moving on. I don't get moving in the middle of the season. Not for Phoenix, but anybody that's done it. Matthew McKay, who did it in the playoffs a couple years ago. It's just I just don't get it. Personally, that's just me. But he's more than free to do whatever he wants and pleases, and wish him the best moving forward. No ill feelings towards him, but NDSU is going to be absolutely just fine. So there we go. Catch up on a couple of things that I thought happened while I was gone. Anything else big that I missed?
No, I think it was it's pretty slow week. We just talked a lot about what was happening during the bye week. Talked to coaches' reactions, what they were talking about. You talked a lot about self-scouting. The only real big thing that you missed was the Frito pie. That was it.
Just got to rub it in.
Just rub it in. Well, you missed the McCaffrey trade. If you have thoughts on that.
So I heard you guys talking about it as well, because I'm going to podcast it, because you can podcast the show wherever you want to. Great work there by Micah Bindi getting those podcasts out. I like the trade for the 49ers. I mean, you get a really good player, right? It did seem that they gave up quite a bit. They didn't have a first-round pick to give up. I mean, they got no picks. They got no first, second. I guess they got a couple of thirds from compensatory picks, but they're going to have almost no picks for the next couple of years. High picks that tend to translate into stars. Now, can you have a 5th or a 6th-round pick that turns into a great player? Yes, but it's not likely. So they gave up quite a bit there. But they have a great defense, and they're going to have Trey Lance back. The main thing that showed me is they have zero plans to move on from Trey Lance. That's what I read into it when McCaffrey was traded to the 49ers. Because, and I had this on my list of things to go over, maybe over a whole segment, so I can talk about it a little bit later on in the show too. I know McCaffrey's cap it's super low. It's like $1 million or something. I don't know how with the contract he has. But the next couple of years, that's got to go up substantially, I would think. Let's just say the 49ers, and based off how they looked yesterday against the Chiefs, this probably won't happen. Let's just say they get to the NFC title game again. Jimmy Garoppolo is not signing for $20 million. It's going to be in the mid to upper 30s at the minimum. Might be in the $40 million per year basis. They cannot afford him. Zero chance. With all the other money they've already committed to Deebo Samuel, George Kittle, the great left tackle who I can't think about, Trent Williams right now, other players on their defense, Fred Warner they've committed to, Bosa they've committed to. They've already committed this money because they were planning on moving off of Jimmy G. Well, now you get in the situation with Trey being hurt, people saying, well, if you get to the NFC title game, you can't move on from Jimmy G. You just can't do it. They don't have a choice financially. They have, unless they're going to trade all those guys they sign, and even if they do that, they're going to be dead money hits, dead cap hits against them. So, trading for Christian McCaffrey, it's great because it gets him another weapon. And he's one of those home run hitters, in my opinion. Like, Deebo Samuel can take it to the house on any play. Christian McCaffrey can take it to the house on any play. He's just a home run hitter. He's a star. So that's a great move for them because they get another guy that can make that kind of an impact. But to me, it said that Trey Lance is definitely their quarterback in the future because he's the only one they're going to be able to afford in the future, personally.
That was my first thought. I got excited. I was like, wow, this 49ers offense is going to have Trey Lance, Christian McCaffrey, Deebo Samuel, Brandon Ayuk, George Kittle, and maybe these guys get traded in the offseason because they have bigger contracts. We'll see how the money works out, but that's an exciting offense to watch.
Oh, it's versatile at the very least. You got a receiver or a running back that plays like slot receiver. You got a receiver that plays running back, a fullback in Kyle Juszczyk that plays just about everything like Lipke, and then you got George Kittle that can play anywhere on the offensive line as well. He can, obviously tight end, but he can block. He can be out wide. He can do anything. It's a very versatile offense. So I thought when I saw the trade, it told me that they're not going to be keeping Jimmy G regardless of what they're doing, or how far they go this season.
Yeah, and you got to wonder, with Trey Lance, what that future holds for him there. I think, like you said, he's going to be the guy. They've made that move for him to be the guy. Just had the unfortunate injury, so give it a year and see what happens, man. But yeah, I like what the 49ers are doing. I'm not a big – I'll be honest, I'm a 49er somewhat fan because of Trey Lance. Outside of that, I haven't really kept up with the 49ers except back in the Joe Montana days and the Steve Young and the Jerry Rice and those old glory days. But it is cool to see what they're doing because we have a connection through NDSU with Trey Lance over there.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. David Minot did text us in. Again, you can text the program 701-476-1660. Talking about Phoenix Sproles just a little bit ago. Dave says he had to leave because if he played more than 4 games, the transfer portal was not an option. That is true. That is fair. He can only play 4 games, and because of some injuries, he hadn't played in some games. I think there's other ways around it where you don't leave, but you just say, hey, I'm not going to play, or I'm deciding to redshirt. You can say, like, I'm going to redshirt this year or something like that, and talk to the coaches about it without actually leaving the program. I don't know. That's a fair point from Dave Minot with the text there. Maybe that's the main reason there. It does make some sense, but there's been other people who have transferred, and I don't know. That's the one thing that irks me the wrong way, is just leaving in the middle of the season when all you talk about is how much I'm going to be here for the guys and stuff. It's not just Phoenix. This is all athletes in general. It's the one thing with the whole transfer portal situation that kind of rubs me the wrong way. But I do get it. He wanted to move on, and that's a fair point there from Dave and Minot because of the 4-game rule in the transfer portal. How about we take a break? We'll come back, talk some NDSU and Illinois State and Bison football. Phil Hansen, the Hall of Famer, joins us on the other side. You're listening to The Insiders, brought to you by Proceed, home of the Right Choice and Right Stuff programs, and online at proceed.net. More of The Insiders when we come back here on Bison 1660.
Bison Nation, your exclusive home for North Dakota State athletics. Bison 1660.
We take great pride in really doing all the research and the work behind the scenes to make sure that our products just work.
We have our own staff member that helps pick the hybrids and the varieties that work in our area. It's meant for you, not for somebody 200 miles away.
We test our seed locally. We produce our seed locally, so we get to see our production fields, where they need to be, and if they work there.
Need seed, think Proceed. Proceed.net. Great seed at a reasonable price.
Looking to buy a new Ford in the months ahead? Then you should be checking out Muscatel Burns Ford. You'll enjoy Muscatel's stellar award-winning service. And be sure to ask about special finance terms and $500 order cash available now on select Bronco, Edge, and Explorer models. Muscatel's has a good selection of pre-owned models too. So stop in today. Muscatel Burns Ford, just 20 minutes from Moorhead on Highway 10 in Hawley. Hey, get your next Ford from Ward.
Our Road to the Ring is brought to you by Schmidt's Gems and Fine Jewelry. Bison Nation showed up in full force on October the 15th and helped create 5 first-half false starts by the South Dakota State Jackrabbits. However, second-ranked SDSU scored 16 unanswered points and held top-ranked North Dakota State to 5 first downs after halftime to claim a 23-21 conference victory at the Fargo Dome. Quarterback Cam Miller completed his first 13 passes and finished 17 for 22 and 227 yards through the air and 2 touchdowns. Wide receiver DJ Hart had a career day with 4 catches and 59 yards. The Bison are 3-1 in conference play and 5-2 overall. The Road to the Ring is brought to you by Schmidt's Gems and Fine Jewelry. They have a long history and reputation for quality workmanship and rock-solid pricing. Whether diamond engagement rings, custom jewelry, or repairs, let Brenda and the team at Schmidt's Gems and Fine Jewelry create a legacy for you and your family. The Bison host the Illinois State Redbirds this Saturday with kickoff scheduled for 2:30 p.m.
Hi, I'm Grant Nelson, NDSU Bison basketball player. Whether it's playing basketball or driving in my car, I want to do everything to the best of my ability, on the court and off the court. So when I'm in the car, I up my game with the Drive for Less program from Nodak Insurance. I could save up to 30% on my premium just for driving safely. To me, that's a slam dunk. Download the Nodak Insurance app today.
30 years and counting. CI Apparel, #1 in corporate, collegiate, and high school apparel. We've partnered with college bookstores and high schools to retailers to bring you high-quality game day apparel. Whether for work or play, every day is game day at CI Apparel with brands you love. Nike, Ogio, Under Armour, and the CI Sport brand. With competitive pricing and fast turnaround times, we help you work harder, play harder, and cheer harder in style. CI Apparel, 2121 43rd Street South in Fargo, and CIapparel.com.
You may not have heard, but the Insiders is now under new management.
Did you see the memo about this?
Here's Rob Hipp and Andy Rickoff.
And I'll go ahead and make sure you get another copy of that memo, okay?
On Bison 1660.
Welcome back to the Insiders, a Monday morning meat sandwich of overreaction. Great to be here with you. Andy Rickoff, Rob Hipp, Micah Bindi. Gang's all here. Reunited once again. Feels so good. This hour of the Insiders on a Monday brought to you by the great team at Rick Electric. When you need electrical work, you need Rick Electric. For over 56 years, Rick Electric has been providing excellent electrical services for homes and businesses. Visit them online at rickelectric.com. Great stuff there. I always appreciate Greg Rick and his team. Actually got a chance to see Greg Rick not last week, because I was obviously on vacation, the week before. And one thing else I guess we haven't really touched on the show, with me at least, was the opening of the Nodak Insurance Company Football Performance Complex. So I got a chance to see them out there. But that's a great facility, phenomenal. And I'm sure the team had a great time practicing in that awesome facility all last week. So that was the first full week of practice inside that thing, and I'm sure that was one of those fun, perfect time for the bye, because you get to just enjoy that thing for an entire week, which is great for the program.
Yeah, it was awesome to go over there and Andy, you and I were both over there for the ribbon cutting for the first part of that facility, and just a beautiful area to be. Going back, one other thing that we did miss real briefly, that was huge news last week, and our good friend Dan and Minot brought this up, and Andy named the voice of NDSU women's basketball. We talked about it on the show, but we wanted to catch you up to speed on that to make sure that you knew that, Andy.
I didn't know about that. That's news to me. Nobody
congratulations,
told me.
Man.
Nobody told you?
Nobody told me. What? Wait, what am I doing?
No, I think you're announcing women's basketball.
Oh, yes. That's that thing. Yeah, no, that was great, and I wanted to spend a whole segment on that. So, Dan, appreciate you texting in again, 701-476-1660. I said I missed the first part of your show, so maybe this was mentioned. Another thing you missed last week, Andy, on the show, they announced the new play-by-play caller for NDSU women's basketball. Congratulations. Yes, that was something. We were going to bring it up. don't like making just about myself, but that was obviously huge news. It's been in the works for a little while now, but obviously wanted to wait till NDSU was going to announce it to mention anything. But extremely happy to be doing that. Again, as I put out on social media, couldn't say thank you enough to Matt Larson, Todd Phelps, the whole staff there at NDSU, and of course Jory Collins, the head coach for NDSU women's basketball, for trusting me with their program to broadcast it, to not just broadcast the games, but to tell the stories of the players of the program there too. And again, couldn't say thank you also enough to the staff at Learfield, obviously Tom Bowman, and you've got a great staff there with Learfield, everybody at NDSU, Josh Hartman, and we've got some guys moving around. Sam, who we've worked pretty closely with at NDSU, is moving on for a different opportunity himself. So some different folks that we're going to be working with at Learfield. But thank you to all of them for, again, giving me the opportunity, trusting me. Just I don't know, young kid's the right word anymore, because I feel a little bit older each and every day, especially when you're camping on the ground. You wake up and some things are a little stiff. You got to stretch more. You said don't do yoga. I've been doing, not yoga, but a lot of stretching. I've been doing a lot of that lately. So, still, I think, fairly young in the profession, and trusting me, who doesn't have a ton of play-by-play experience outside of college, to call these games and giving me that opportunity. Couldn't say thank you enough to all of them. That's something I'm definitely looking forward to. First game is on the 7th of November out in Montana, and I said on social media, I couldn't encourage Bison Nation enough. Go listen to those games, not just because I'm calling them, but I really, truly do think, and I know the women's basketball program's had some rough years. I've been around for them. I called those games. I was there as a student. Trust me, I know there's been some lean years for NDSU women's basketball. I get it. And the South Dakota schools that kind of ran the conference. This year's team, getting a chance to be around them a little bit so far, there is some legitimate talent. And it is a different looking team. When you just look at, don't watch them play basketball or anything. They can just line up in a line, and it looks different right now. It's going to be a fun team to be around. There's a lot of fun personalities. Jory Collins is a great guy to get to know a little bit more. I've gotten a chance these last few years to get to know him just a bit. So looking forward to getting to know him and his family. The coaching staff is really fun too. So I'm excited for it. Definitely something I'm going to be looking forward to. And that was great news to finally get to share with everybody last week. Unfortunately, it was such good news. I was so excited about the position that they named me the women's basketball play-by-play guy, and I immediately flew to Denver to get an early scout on the Denver Pioneers. That's really what I was doing the whole time. No, just kidding.
We knew there was something. Hey, but no, congratulations, Andy. Man, it's been cool for me just being here 2 months and getting to know you and all the good things that you've been able to do, man. And so it's awesome. This is right here in your backyard, and I know you're going to do a great job, man, and excited. Season's coming up, and the coaches show is going to be on the 31st, so yep. I think maybe you'll hop on that with me as well, and it's going to be a lot of fun, man.
We'll actually have Jory Collins and Dave Richmond both in studio with us on the 26th, this Wednesday. They'll both be in with us, too, so not the Bison basketball coaches show or anything, but they'll just be in for the insiders for an hour and kind of preview both of those seasons. Obviously, two teams we're looking forward to watching here all year long, and excited to be not just calling games for women's basketball, get a chance to be around that team and tell the stories a little bit. Something for me personally, I've always just kind of dreamed of doing. As a kid, I wanted to broadcast games and listen to a lot of games on the radio. Now I get a chance to travel with the team, so it'll be fun.
Yeah, looking forward to that. And, as we just mentioned, not to keep spinning that tire, but basketball, it's just crazy how fast things happen. And we're in the middle of, winter sports getting under wet wrestling and all that. And so I want to encourage folks out there, go to the website, go to gobison.com, purchase your season tickets, very affordable, and come out and support these student athletes.
Yep, and gobison.com, they got some great games. Obviously, the women's basketball team, as I've already mentioned, literally the Minnesota Golden Gophers are coming to town. That's going to be a lot of fun, that great game on the 17th of November. For wrestling, they also face Minnesota here inside the Shack, too. So some great games there. Bison men obviously open with Arkansas and Kansas. They're at Indiana State, a Missouri Valley conference opponent, too. So that's really good for basketball, and they got some nice home games. So definitely looking forward. I think they face Montana at home in the non-conference season. So some great games for both the men and the women here at home, and also for wrestling for the Bison. Let's jump on over, though, to our Epic Companies hotline right now. Phil Hansen giving us some time on the hotline right now. Phil, great to have you back on with us, sir. How have you been resting and recharging from the bye week?
Yeah, very, very good. It's good to be back, though. It's I hate watching football without the Bison playing on a Saturday, so be happy to get back into it.
Yeah, it does feel a little bit weird. We were mentioning in our first segment, Phil, it's so quickly how you get out of the routine of everything, and it takes a little bit. It takes a couple of days to really get back into that routine that we were feeling for a bit. How do you think that is for the team, for the players? Of you have this routine of game week, and then you don't have it, and now you have to try and get back into that mindset.
I think, so they just want to revenge that loss. They want to get that bad taste out of their mouth with South Dakota State. So I'm sure they were chomping at the bit, ready to play this weekend. If I know a competitive Bison football player, so they're going to be wanting to get right back in and prove that they're a winning team and get back at it.
Phil, it's good to catch up with you. Is it difficult for a younger person, I'm talking at the collegiate level, to just kind of wrap up the games? We always hear about the coaching staff saying, hey, we'll put the bow on that one after the team meeting and look forward to next week. Is it hard for a young person to do that, though? And how do you kind of coach them out of that to say, okay, this one's over with, let's move on?
Gosh, I would almost say it's harder for a veteran player myself. But, yeah, I mean, it's a long season. Yeah, I think it's maybe both equally. I mean, if you're a competitive person and you don't like losing, and you've got to go 14 days of thinking about that loss. You can't dwell on the win because it didn't happen. So I don't know if it's harder for a younger person or a veteran player, but, seniors got a lot at stake too. So, but regardless, I don't think anybody likes to lose, and they want to get back on the winning track as soon as possible.
We were also talking about news from last week, things that I missed since I was gone for a week, kind of like you on vacation, getting a little recharge here on the bye week. But one thing from last week, Phil, was Phoenix Sproles deciding to leave the program and move on for different opportunities for him. For whatever reason, he decided to do that. And for me personally, again, like I said in the first segment, I got nothing against Phoenix. Best of luck to him in his future endeavors. I think NDSU's fine because I saw some things from DJ Hart the last couple of weeks that tells me he's going to be one heck of a player. And Zach Mathis is making plays, too, at that wide receiver position.
Yeah, it's hard to speculate on why he decided to leave, but nonetheless, he worked hard just like every other player here, and just saw a different opportunity elsewhere, and wish him the best, and wish him the best in his new endeavors, whatever he's going to do.
What do you think of DJ Hart and the rest of this receiving core, how they can step up? Because I've seen some good things from him, I think.
Yeah, I saw DJ is coming on, and I saw Zach Mathis made a couple plays against South Dakota State. Thing is that we just need consistency, and maybe that's part calling a pass play to that guy. Maybe it's part that guy being ready, and maybe it's part Cam getting in the ball. I don't know, but when you got something going, you want to stick with it, and I just haven't seen that developed with Cam and any wide receiver. It's kind of been here or there. I thought he did have it with Noah a little bit. They seem to have a match going on, so that just needs to be developed, reinforced, played out, and then I think you can see the startings of some good wide receiver play. And I saw visions of that at South Dakota State with those two players.
Phil, we kind of talk about this season as it continues on, 4 games remaining, and you and I have chatted up there in the broadcast booth about you learn from this one and you move on, but you're kind of at a point now with 4 games remaining. It's almost like you always learn every game, but it's time to really start focusing on these last 4. What's your kind of thoughts moving forward on these last 4 games and what the Bison have to do now to just be successful throughout the remainder of the season?
Yeah, it's time to get it on. I mean, stop making excuses. Stop saying it doesn't matter. Stop saying that we'll get back to it. Stop saying we're learning, and it's time to perform. I mean, you don't get any more opportunities, and the playoff picture is forming. And you're either in the driver's seat or you're in the receiving seat. So, excuses are for losers. Go out there and get it done. That's all it is.
Yeah, pretty simple when you put it that way. I like it. And this is an Illinois State team that is coming in that has won 3 in a row, 5 of the last 6 too. So definitely not an easy game or a layup type of game when you're here in the Valley. And then you got UND and Southern Illinois on the schedule the rest of the way too. We mention a lot with this team that you want to win the conference. That's usually the number one goal. That's probably out of reach with SDSU having beat UND over the weekend, and they'll have to drop 2 games for NDSU to win the conference. So how do you kind of focus on, okay, if we can't win the conference, we want to just get a top 2 seed, and how do you focus on just game by game and not that bigger picture?
Yeah, it's different. Each year is different. It's a different team. They've got that saying like, we're 1-0 this week. If that works, that's great. Just go be 1-0 this week, and then start the following week and be 1-0 that week. I mean, each kid, each coach, each team looks at things differently, and I mean that seems to be kind of their mantra this year. And it's good, but you still got to get the 1-0 instead of the 0-1.
Yeah, absolutely, and I completely agree with you. And again, Phil Hansen joining us. That at this point you can't keep saying, "Oh, we're learning, we're young, we're going to get some things figured out." After this bye week, the bye week is a lot of self-scout, self-reflection, fixing things, changing things a little bit. So with that being said, Give me like the top 3 things you want to see in this game against Illinois State that will tell you that, okay, they worked on some things during the bye week. What do you want to see that's different?
Just more of the same. I mean, they're a running team. Establish that running game. Establish it early. Keep developing that passing game. And for the defensive front seven has to be able to stop the run. You will not have a successful season if the front seven and supporting cast from the defensive backs can't stop the run. You got to be able to do that. So I guess those 3 things. Offense, establish the run because that's what you're good at. I know you can do it. I mean, you have done, but you have to have that week in and week out, and typically they do. And then the defense has to be able to stop the run.
Phil, just in my short time here, it's been great sitting next to you and just learning and so much of the history of this team. One thing that's came across to me that's been very evident that the fans have talked about is they say Phil Hansen is kind of the voice of the fans up there in that press box. And, I wanted to ask you this question, just to how important has Bison Nation been throughout this season, especially a game that we saw against SDSU with those 5 false starts there to get things going? It was loud in the Fargo Dome.
Yeah, you probably you haven't had a chance to hear it being really loud, but that is as close as it's been to being absolutely crazy in that Fargo Dome. And imagine that for a whole game, except at halftime. But so Rob, you haven't had the opportunity, but that was certainly a precursor. That was a little appetizer for you what it can sound like. Hey, the Bison fans, they're passionate about the Bison. They want the Bison to win. They've been spoiled the last decade, as I have. I mean, the Bison have won. So when we see a little drop-off or a loss here or there, we all wonder what's going on, and we have great expectations, just like the team does. But, everybody's got their own opinion and are prognosticators, as I am. But, I'm frustrated when we lose, and not as much when we lose, when we just don't do things correct, don't do things the Bison way. And I think, some Bison fans feel that same way. Everybody's got their own opinion, and that's why coaching is so hard, because you do something and it works and you're sainted nearly, and then you do something wrong and it doesn't work, and then you're the worst coach ever. So it's tough coaching.
Yeah.
But you want people to be active, because that's ultimately where your funding comes from. People want to be a part of success. I mean, there's a whole litany of things that go into that. It's not just winning the game. It's raising money, being proud of your institution. It's a whole bunch of other things that are wrapped up in the Bison being successful, being good, and winning.
Couldn't agree with you more. I love how you illustrated that one right there. Phil Hansen, a Hall of Famer here with us. Obviously the analyst on the Pioneer Seeds Bison Radio Network as well. Phil, great to have you back on. Looking forward to getting you back in that booth on Saturday.
Yep, looking forward to it too, guys. Thanks.
There he is. Phil Hansen, nice enough to give us some time on a Monday edition of the show once again. As always, our conversations with Phil brought to you by CI Sport. 30 years in counting, CI Apparel, #1 in corporate, collegiate, and high school apparel. Whether it's for work or play, every day is game day at CI Apparel. Also, we're here with you live inside the Tharaldson Ethanol Broadcast Center. And Tharaldson Ethanol produces 175 million gallons of ethanol per year and roughly 400 tons of livestock feed per year. You can fuel your future by joining their growing team and learning more about the livestock feed and the ethanol they produce online at tharaldsonethanol.com. We'll take a break. We'll come back, talk with our corporate game week sponsor, Red River Commodities, when we come back on the other side on a Monday on The Insiders.
Your home for the Thundering Herd. Bison 1660.
Tired of your real estate goals getting blocked? Let Todd Cattermas with Beyond Realty serve up your next big move in real estate. Todd's expertise in the Fargo-Moorhead area means he's the one to line up the perfect shot. Call Todd Cattermas with Beyond Realty today at 701-371-4234 or visit him at Beyond Realty, 4832 Amber Valley Parkway in Fargo. Todd is a proud partner and the preferred realtor of NDSU Athletics. Todd Cattermas with Beyond Realty, moving the herd one home at a time.
Cardinal IG would like to shine the spotlight on their employees celebrating October anniversaries. Neonduis Stanislas is celebrating 15 years. Aboinyo Ajang is celebrating 10 years. Aaron Kapabe, 5 years. Tite Benazerwe, Mohammed Yusuf, and Chris Willesha are all celebrating their first year. From the entire team, thank you. Cardinal IG offers competitive pay, outstanding benefits, and an extensive training program. To view open positions or to apply, visit cardinalfargo.com.
New 2022 Honda Pilots are in stock now at Corwin Honda. This 8-passenger all-wheel drive SUV comes standard with an auto start, heated seats, and Honda Sensing. Current Honda owners can receive $750 lease loyalty cash toward the lease of a new 2022 Pilot, or $1,000 loyalty cash when you purchase a new Pilot. See dealer for details. Corwin Honda has over 40 new Pilots available to choose from, all colors and trim levels. Shop Corwin Honda today. Online, corwinauto.com.
Need storage? Mega Storage USA is here for you. Whether you need storage for your boat, camper, motorcycle, or even a food truck, they have the perfect unit for you. Contractors need a safe place to store your trailers and equipment, or even a semi? Mega Storage USA has you covered. Each unit comes with 24-hour access, an electrical outlet, and light, plus top-notch customer service and more. Located off I-94 on the 29th Street interchange behind RDO in Moorhead. See all that Mega Storage USA has to offer at megastoragefargomoorhead.com or call 218-461-8158.
Here's your Red River Valley weather update on Bison 1660.
It's been a wet, cool, and windy Monday to start your new work week. Overnight, a 30% chance of rain continues, with skies gradually becoming partly cloudy, lows near 30, and on your Tuesday, sunny skies and highs near 52.
This weather update brought to you by Brady Service Center in Moorhead. Brady Service Center is your one-stop shop for all of your automotive needs, and with donuts, breakfast, and lunch items daily, they're also your one-stop shop for all your road trip needs.
On the Rocks Craft Cocktails bring natural, refreshing, bar-quality, balanced cocktails to the ready-to-drink category. Natural ingredients, no preservatives. Like the Mai Tai with Carusan Rum, the Margarita with Hornitos Tequila, an Old Fashioned with Knob Creek Bourbon, an Aviation with Larios Gin, or get spicy with a Jalapeno Pineapple Margarita with Tres Generaciones Tequila. Or maybe live it up with the Cosmopolitan with Effin' Vodka. On the Rocks Craft Cocktails. Hard to choose, easy to pour. Please drink responsibly.
Take us with you wherever you go with the Bison 1660 app, powered by Thunder Seed, first in the field. Now, back to the Insiders.
11:49 on the Insiders, a Monday edition of the show. Tomorrow, obviously, Easton Stick will join us. Chargers a tough one. Do we panic or have patience about the Chargers? Maybe that's a team for panic or patience in the second hour of the show. And the Seahawks, by the way, are in first place of the NFC West. That was something that nobody would have predicted coming into the season. So Easton Stick tomorrow, also Missouri Valley Mix. We'll catch up with a couple of people from the Valley. We'll talk about NDSU and Illinois State, as we do every week with the upcoming opponent for the Bison. So looking forward to the rest of the week. And we'll be back at Sicky's on Thursday. Always looking forward to being back at Sicky's off 45th Street and see the great crowd and all of Bison Nation come out to Sicky's on Thursday. We'll have some tickets and different things to give away for NDSU and Illinois State. And our corporate game week sponsor, bringing you all of our coverage of NDSU and Illinois State this week, is Red River Commodities. And Josh Albrecht of Red River Commodities, nice enough to stop in and give us some time today. Great to have you back in the studio for what, the third time?
Yeah, third or fourth
time. Yeah.
It's great to be back.
Yeah.
Meet the new players, and you're taking over the captain's seat now. So
yeah, you don't have to turn around and talk to me anymore. You can just stare straight ahead. So
well, you were the only person I wanted to talk to last time, anyways.
Nobody liked talking to Jeff. Yeah, we can say that. Everyone's kind of skirting around it, dancing around the topic, but we can just say it. Nobody really liked talking.
Yeah, Florida can have them, right?
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, he can be down in nice warm weather. He was never much of a shovel the snow guy either, so he won't have to worry about that the next couple of months.
Any of us though?
That's true. Rob's looking forward to it. Rob has said many times he's excited about winter. So
I was looking at snow blowers this weekend, Josh. I was like, man, there's so many options. And then I was looking at the electric ones, and I was like, nah, that just doesn't sound like they're going to work very well.
Doesn't sound very manly for you. So,
yeah.
I don't know.
He's looking forward to the winter. He doesn't realize when he says that we're all in this together. So when you say something like that and karma comes back to bite you, it also gets us. That's the problem.
It's really nice the first time when you do it. For the first time you snow blow, then after that point you're kind of going, what did I get myself into?
Why did I say I wanted this? It's just different. One thing we all want is sun butter. That's one of the main products from Red River Commodities. People don't realize, grown locally, produced locally, and processed as well, right here in Fargo in the tri-state area, free of the top 8 food allergens. Sun butter is something I have definitely enjoyed since you came in a couple of years ago and introduced us to it. Chocolate sun butter is close to me if you're watching on the horse cam right now. And Rob Hipp will not be leaving the studio with that. That one will be going home with me. But sun butter, a great product that you guys produce locally.
Yeah, it's great. A national brand, like I've said before. Out in schools, heavily in schools, food service. You'll see it on the retail shelves. We had released our chocolate, going on about a year and a half, almost 2 years now. Greatly received. Great product. Allergen free. It's great for the kids. Kids will come home and say they have to have sun butter, and that leads to purchases on the shelf too. So we like that. So definitely it done here in Fargo, North Dakota, which makes it. I don't think a lot of people, like we talked before, really understand that there is a lot more done here in the Dakotas than what people think.
Well, Josh, one thing that I've learned just with the NDSU fan base, it just buys in pride, and there's so much pride with athletics. There's pride with this community, and it's something that I've realized you guys at Red River Commodities are very proud of, is just serving locally. You just talked about what you do here in Fargo. Just how important is that community aspect and the pride that you guys have for Fargo and surrounding areas?
It is. I mean, in any of the communities that we're in where we have our facilities, from Kansas to Texas, to North Dakota, being big in the community is huge. We're very big in the United Way, and we want to have a strong presence. We've been very big with NDSU, a lot of NDSU grads and supporters within our organization. So it's important to have that stronghold in the community, so people really know that we're here and we're out in front of it.
Yeah, obviously sun butter is one of those top products, but you guys, sunflower seeds, Sunteen, a whole bunch of different items as well. It doesn't just end with sun butter for you guys at Red River Commodities.
No, and that's that's another thing. We do so much. From roasted products to wildlife. I know we were just talking about that. I think the big thing people are talking about is sustainability. Especially with going green and a lot of the mantras that people are trying to go down the path. If it doesn't meet human food grade, we can move it over into our wildlife. We use everything that involves from the sunflower to the shell, which goes off to different types of feed or turkey bedding or horse bedding, things like that.
Yeah, online Red River Commodities, or redriv.com is the website. Red River Commodities, our corporate game week sponsor of NDSU in Illinois State. Josh Albrecht in here with us from Red River Commodities. You mentioned the roasting and packaging. I know that's something that you guys take great pride in as well, and being able to do that along with you mentioned the wildlife food, the livestock feed. You really do use just about everything, and you cook them or not cook them, but you use them in unique ways with that roasting and packaging you guys do.
Yeah, we do a lot of national seasoned brands, like I brought in here for you guys to
chili
see.
lime flavored sunflower seeds.
It's a great flavor. We do a lot of different brands. Really, on a yearly basis, we roast and season probably around 30 to 40 million pounds of in-shell sunflower in our roasting facilities. From Lubbock, Texas to Horace, North Dakota.
What's your favorite flavor?
There's a spicy sweet chili one that I like a lot, and then there's also another like a Taco Bell type of.
Those ones were really good.
I brought those last year. Yeah. Those were pretty good.
Sure
they were really good.
They didn't last very long.
I'm sure they didn't, but I know a guy that can bring more in here for you. So,
there you go.
That's not a problem.
Did you play baseball growing up or anything?
I played baseball and basketball, so I played basketball in college.
Were you sunflowers during the games?
All the time.
Okay.
And I grew up in North Dakota and helped out on farms, and my grandfather had a farm, so we were either doing oats, wheat, sunflower, and really honestly we're eating sunflower raw too, coming off the combine. So yeah, sunflower was always a big thing.
You big seeds guy then?
Absolutely.
Yeah. I was always more the big league chew. I leaned towards the bubble gum personally.
Yeah, that was
when I was younger.
That was a big thing too. I like the big league chew. But it's when you think about baseball, you think about chewing sunflower seeds.
Yeah.
And that's in like I've said before, I chalked another baseball stadium off the list this last summer, and that leaves me 5 left. But it's always great to go to a game and chew some sunflower seeds.
What one did you knock off?
Citi Field.
Okay.
In New York. So 5 more.
Did you did Edwin Diaz come in for a save?
He did not.
You didn't get to hear that.
No, I did not. But I've seen Aroldis Chapman before and come in Yankee Stadium, so that was pretty interesting.
Yeah, I'm a Texas guy, so of course I'm rooting on the Astros. And I saw I was going to mention Andy segued into it, all the sunflower seeds that were. I was like, you know what, these guys need to get some Red River Commodity sunflower seeds down there. But who are you rooting for? Now it's set.
I've got to believe that Houston's going to win. They're pretty solid all around. Can't say I'm a big Phillies fan. I really thought it was going to be the Dodgers and Astros in the World Series, but I like Dusty Baker. I think he's a great manager. It'd be nice to see him win one. They've got a pretty solid team. The Phillies are hot right now, so we'll see. It hopefully will be an exciting series.
Hopefully it goes longer than 4 or 5 games like the championship series did.
I was really surprised the Yankees kind of laid an egg. I mean, when you got 50 some strikeouts in a short series like that. that's not good. That's not a recipe for success.
Well, the Astros have owned the Yankees. They've done to the Yankees what the Yankees have done to the Twins.
Yeah, for sure. But we'll see. I mean, the Astros have been known to lay a little bit of an egg in the World Series outside of winning the 1 year. So hopefully it's going to be a good series. I think Schwarber's playing really well. Harper, and then pitching, too, is going to be huge.
Yeah, absolutely will be, and we'll see how it goes. I'm hoping for, like you said, 6 or 7, but something tells me that the Astros are just kind of unstoppable at this point, unfortunately.
Man, I'm really thinking 5.
See, me too. I don't love the Philadelphia fan base ever since the Vikings lost to the Eagles, and so I'm hard to cheer for either team. For me personally, I wanted San Diego in this thing, but it just didn't happen.
Being a Rockies fan, I couldn't cheer for the Padres. So I lived in Denver too long, and I'm okay with them not getting in. I hear you on the Philly fan base. I've been to a Phillies game. They're brutal, on opposing fans and even their own. their own team, and then I'm a huge Steelers fan, so I've been to an Eagles and Steelers game, and that was interesting. It was
I bet.
I've been to the Coliseum for a Steelers game, and some other places too, and that was the most interesting stadium I've been to for sure.
We should also make sure we mention with you guys Sunteen, that flour. I know I brought it up a little bit, but sunflower flour and different things for baking purposes too.
Yeah, for keto purposes. We have some of that product in some keto breads that are out on the national shelves right now. Great product, very beneficial from a health standpoint, and you'll start seeing that more and more. We sell a lot into bakeries for breads, a lot into cookies. Kind of a gluten replacement.
Plant-based protein, allergen-free as well, correct?
Yeah, absolutely. And you're hearing so much for plant-based protein right now, so it's really kind of hitting the mark, across all segments.
Again, redrib.com is the website. Red River Commodities bringing you all of our coverage of NDSU and Illinois State. I know you're a big football guy. What does NDSU have to do to kind of right the ship here? Not that they got one loss against FCS competition, but to get back on track after that loss.
I think it's been tough. They haven't really put a true full game together. And I think they had a great first half, obviously against SDSU, and then kind of let it get away from them, in the second half. I think people sometimes really want to jump off the ledge and panic. With the history of the team, I just don't see that being the case. They'll right the things. They'll do what they need to do. The culture there is to that point, and they're going to be there at the end. I don't see them not being there at the end.
I'm with you 100%. Josh Albrecht, Red River Commodities, nice enough to bring us in a bunch of sun butter, some sunflower seeds as well, and Red River Commodities bringing you all of our coverage of NDSU and Illinois State. Josh, always appreciate it. Great to see you once again.
Yeah, awesome. Congratulations to you, and great to be here, and thanks for having us.
We'll have to get the Red River Commodities crew out for a couple of Bison basketball games.
That would be awesome.
There we go. Love it. Thanks for coming in, Josh.
Awesome. Thanks so much, guys.
We'll take a break. We'll come back. Second hour of the show. Talk a little panic or patience with some NFL teams. Who are we thinking is going to be just fine, and what teams got to start maybe making some changes? That and a whole lot more in the second hour of the show on the Insiders.
As the days get shorter and the temps get a little cooler, now is the time to start thinking about projects for Rick Electric in your home this fall. Hey, it's Chris Hansen. Rick Electric has been proudly providing services in the Fargo-Moorhead area since 1964. Right now's a great time to schedule your winter projects, like having a Generac whole house generator with automatic transfer switch installed, or more outlets for Christmas lights. Rick Electric, 233-6194, or go to rickelectric.com.
Nutrisource is now introducing Superstars. It's a soft and tasty training reward for your pup in 4 delicious flavors: real chicken, cheddar cheese, beef, and real bacon. Each treat is less than 3 calories, and 100% of the profits from these treats go to the Nutrisource Superstars program, a program dedicated to helping family, children, and pets facing hardships. For more information on Nutrisource Superstars and all the organizations they support, go to NutrisourcePetFoods.com/giving-back.
We all want to be part of a winning team, right? Hi, this is Marcus with Steamatic, and I am very proud of our team. Industry experts have voted Steamatic the best method of cleaning with our patented steam cleaning process, our 24-hour service, and highly trained technicians. We do it all from carpet cleaning, air duct cleaning, fire and water damage restoration, and remember, Bison fanatics choose Steamatic.
Steamatic, call 232-4707.
Sugar beet season is in full swing. Are you having issues with your bed liner while hauling? Contact Horn Plastics today. Horn Plastics has industry-leading bed liners that will guarantee you get every dime out of your haul. With a superior slide bed liner, you'll not only prolong the life of your equipment, you'll increase the amount of material in each load, increase the number of loads per day, which in turn makes you more money. Call today for a free estimate or to get your install scheduled. Online at hornplastics.com. That's hornplastics.com.
Looking to buy a new Ford in the months ahead? Then you should be checking out Muscatel Burns Ford. You'll enjoy Muscatel's stellar award-winning service. And be sure to ask about special finance terms and $500 order cash available now on select Bronco, Edge, and Explorer models. Muscatel's has a good selection of pre-owned models too. So stop in today. Muscatel Burns Ford, just 20 minutes from Moorhead on Highway 10 in Hawley. Hey, get your next Ford from Ward.
Every fan loves an explosive play on the field when someone breaks free and takes it to the house. Take that feeling anywhere with the explosive taste of Bud Light Seltzer, the official hard seltzer of the NDSU Bison. Bud Light Seltzer is always the right call for game day. The bold flavor of the hard soda variety pack and the all-new seasonal apple slices flavors will definitely score points with your team in the tailgate zone or inside the Fargo Dome. Bud Light Seltzer, the official hard seltzer of the NDSU Bison. Please drink responsibly, never drink and drive.
KQWB West Fargo, KPFX HD3 Kindred, and K224FD Fargo. Bison 1660, powered by Gateway Chevrolet, Cadillac, Nissan, and Hyundai in Fargo.
And here's what you need to know.
Commanders coach Ron Rivera deflected when asked if quarterback Taylor Heineke showed enough to supplant Carson Wentz as QB1 when Wentz recovers from a fractured finger, saying, quote, "When we get to that position, then I'll deal with it," end quote. NFL media says the NFL is investigating two officials for violating league rules after video showed them approach Buccaneers receiver Mike Evans and ask for his autograph after yesterday's game in Carolina. The Cowboys announced corner Jordan Lewis suffered a season-ending foot injury. ESPN reports 49ers practice squad running back Marlon Mack is signing with the Broncos and will travel with the team to London for Sunday's game against the Jaguars. Patriots quarterback Mac Jones expected to play tonight against the Bears. And The Athletic reports the Big Ten is sticking with football divisions for the 2023 season, and then they will create a new model when UCLA and USC join the conference in 2024. I'm Nick Cope.
You've got the insiders.
How you play today, from this moment on, is how you will be remembered.
That's what living is. The 6 inches in front of your face.
Bringing you what you need to know and a whole lot more. Topics you care about, guests you know, and the conversations you came to hear. The Insiders are presented by Proceed. Need seed? Think Proceed.
This is your time. Now go out there and take it.
Now, here are the Insiders.
The Insiders. The Insiders. The Insiders. Insiders.
Rob Hipp and Andy Rickoff.
Welcome back to the Insiders, second hour on a Monday for you. Andy Rickoff, Rob Hipp, Micah Bindi. Game week, back on the week-by-week grind. 4 games left. We're going to do this. Going to get some things righted. Bye week was great. Self-scout. Looking forward to this weekend, ESU and Illinois State. Our first hour on a Monday, each and every Monday, brought to you by the great team at Rick Electric. Been serving this area, homes and businesses, for over 56 years. Highly encourage you, if you're doing electrical work, don't do it by yourself. It's dangerous. It's pricey. It's all those things. It's difficult to do. It's kind of expensive if you do it wrong. And it's also dangerous if you try and do it yourself. So I encourage you to use the great pros there at Rick Electric. Again, you can go online to rickelectric.com to learn more, or give them a call at 218-233-6194. Also, this show today brought to you in part by Herd and Horns, a great spot for beers, burger, and bison. All ages, whether you're coming with your buddies, your friends, or your family, welcome at Herd and Horns. They can accommodate you all. Happy hours Monday through Thursday, 3 to 6 p.m., Friday, 3 to 5 p.m. It's $2 off apps and $1 off all drinks. Tuesday's trivia night at 7 p.m. Wednesday night, 7 to close, is mug night. And Thursdays are bingo night at Herd and Horns starting at 7 p.m. Again, here with you on a Monday morning overreaction or not overreaction. How about we take a look at the latest edition of the coaches poll that came out. See if there's any overreacting done after last week's games. Give you some updates on what happened there. Football bed music is perfect for that. Coaches poll of October 23rd. SDSU remains at number 1. They have 25 out of a possible 26 first-place votes. Want to guess who got the other first-place votes?
Sacramento State.
That would be correct. Sac State gets the other one. SDSU is at number 1. Montana State's actually 2. And then Sac State is 3. They're only separated by 8 points. Montana State and Sacramento State are. So those 3 stay the same. SDSU, Montana State, Sac State. Number 4 stays the same as well. NDSU at number 4. Up to number 5, which I just think is preposterous. Jackson State's the number 5 team in the country. There's just no way. There's just no way. And I'm not trying to be disrespectful to Deion Sanders or anything or HBCUs. They're not the 5th best team in the FCS. They're not. They're just flat out, plain and simple, they're not the 5th best team. Again, coaches' poll is always ridiculous. My poll isn't the end-all be-all either, but they're not going to be even in the top 10. They shouldn't be in the top 10. They're just not a top 10 team. I know they're 7-0. The resume looks good. Haven't faced anybody. But it is cool that College Game Day is going to Jackson State this week for HBCU and their big game this week. Got a rivalry game, so that's cool that they're getting more publicity, but they're not the 5th best team in the FCS. They're just not. Plain and simple.
It's just the Deion. Look, man, I respect Deion, but it's the Deion Sanders factor.
Yeah.
If it wasn't for him, College Football Game Day wouldn't be going there this weekend, and they would not be ranked where they're at right now.
No. And Shadir Sanders is also a really good player. Maybe he's going to be up for the Walter Payton, but they're not the 5th best team in the FCS. They're just not. Chattanooga's at number 6. Weber State falls from 5 to 7. We'll talk about Weber State a little bit here in just a couple minutes. Holy Cross is at 8. Incarnate Word's at 9. Montana is now at 10. A couple of losses in a row for the Grizz that have fallen from, I think they were at number 3 or even at number 2 in some polls, now out to number 10. Delaware moved up from 12 to 11. William and Mary from 13 to 12. Sanford's at 13. Let's see. Rhode Island's now at 17. Princeton's in this at 22 now. Princeton moved up from 23 to 22, so they've been in it for the last couple of weeks. Didn't know that. Idaho's at 23, which is, to me, ridiculous. They should be they're probably going to be in the top 15 this week. For me, personally, Idaho's played really well. They're a playoff team. They're absolutely a playoff team right now. Southern Illinois falls to number 24, and New Hampshire's at 25. Elon dropped out from 25 to unranked, and New Hampshire was not ranked. They are now ranked at number 25. And Elon, obviously with the loss last week, the team falling out. Kind of a surprise for me that Elon got boat raced the way they did against New Hampshire. So there's a top 25 from the coaches poll for you. Anything stick out to you outside of Jackson State clearly not being the 5th best team in the country?
No, I just think Sacramento State continues to be impressive as well, and there's only a handful of undefeated teams left in the FCS, and Sac State getting that one vote, I think that they're worthy of it. They're a great team. We've seen them continue their domination, and I think that they're going to fill up there. We talked earlier about this. There's still an opportunity for North Dakota State to finish up, in the top 4 and possibly even top 2. Just got to continue to play dominant and win out.
Yep, they sure do. And Sac State, again, I'll give them credit. They have won the games that they have played. They are undefeated. They have an FBS win. The resume speaks of top 2. I'd probably put them at maybe even number 2 ahead of Montana State because of that FBS win that they have. But I think they've been more impressive in some games where Montana State's won some games, but they haven't looked all that impressive. I still got to see them in the playoffs. Like I haven't seen this team. Let's say if you're an NDSU fan out there, and obviously most people listening to this show are, if NDSU is the 3 and Sac State's the 2, I still feel confident we're going to have a semifinal game in Fargo because I don't trust Sac State to win more than a playoff game because they haven't. They've been the top 4 team and haven't won games. So I want to see it in the playoffs, but clearly their resume is worthy of being in that top 3, probably even in that top 2 discussion with a 31-24 win in overtime at home against Montana. It is not an easy road the rest of the way for the Hornets, though. This weekend, they have Idaho, who is Jason Eck. They have started to put some offensive things together and looking like a really, really good team for not just the future, but even right now. They're at Weber State also next weekend, so they've got a couple opportunities here to possibly slip up. And you're talking about NDSU getting to a top 2 seed. You absolutely have to have Sac State lose a game, probably 2, the rest of the way, because they have an FBS win. So if you both finish with 1 loss against the FCS, and it's only a 1-loss Sac State team and a 2-loss NDSU team, and Sac State's got an FBS win, Sac State's probably the 2 seed. It's just being, trying to look at it objectively. They're probably going to be the 2 seed if that's the way it works out. So you need Sac State to lose 2 of their last 4, home against Idaho, at Weber State, at Portland State, and home against UC Davis. That's the remaining schedule for the Hornets.
Yeah, not an easy schedule for them, a couple of those games. And so, yeah, we could see some of these teams drop a little bit more from where they're standing at. And I'd like to see North Dakota State, finish up in that. Of course, we want to see them finish up number 1. That's obviously not going to happen. But get in that top 2 would be huge for NDSU.
Yep.
But I'm not panicking. I'm not panicking.
No, not panicking. Not at all. No reason to panic. Montana State, their remaining schedule, you probably also need the Bobcats to lose. They're an interesting case because they don't have that FBS win. So if you finish both with 1 loss and neither of you are, conference champions, the problem is you need everybody in the Big Sky to at least have 1 loss. So Montana State would be at least like a co-champion of their league or something like that. I don't know exactly how it would work out with all the tiebreakers. But Montana State's remaining schedule at Northern Arizona. They actually have a bye week this week. Next week are at Northern Arizona, then at Cal Poly, then they finish up home against Montana. You need Montana State to lose the Brawl of the Wild against the Grizz and probably drop a game against Northern Arizona or Cal Poly, which isn't super likely, but you kind of need that to happen at this point. Weber State already has a loss now. Weber State also does have an FBS win. You might need Weber to lose 1 more game, but they have some tough games on their schedule. Montana's lost 2 now, so you don't really have to worry about the Grizz. You're just worried about Montana State, Sac State, and maybe Weber State. If they win out, they'd probably be ahead of NDSU too because of their FBS win. So that's what it looks like in terms of the top 25 and any potential top 2 seed hopes that you're holding on to as a Bison fan.
Yeah, and while we were chatting, the FCS came out too.
Stats
Perform came out, and Sacramento State at number 2 with 2 first-place votes. Montana State there at number 3. Of course, SDSU remaining number 1 with 51 first-place votes.
Where's Jackson State?
Jackson State is 9. And
they have a first-place vote. Who voted for Jackson State as the best team in the... They're not. They're not the best team. And whoever voted for them as the best team in the country, I want your vote for me.
I want to know who it is so we can get them in on the show and talk to them about this.
I'm not... Again, it sounds like I'm just picking on Jackson State, but I'm trying not to. I'm trying to be polite about it. Look at their schedule. No, they're just not the best team in the FC.
You're going at this voter like the person that was going after Derek Jeter for the not unanimous.
Not unanimous. Yeah, that was also really stupid. MLB is just dumb. There's a lot of old guys that don't get it. But like Jackson State, I'm just going to pull up the schedule.
Is that public? Can you find out who voted?
No,
some of them make it public.
You could try to, but you're probably not going to.
It's supposed to be.
Jackson State has faced Florida A&M, Tennessee State, Grambling State, Mississippi Valley, Alabama State, Bethune-Cookman, Campbell. Didn't face anybody. Didn't face a top 50 team, much less a top 10 team. Who gave them a first-place vote? Just ridiculous. And they only won 26-12 against Alabama State. That was where the origination of who's SWAC, I'm not SWAC, or whatever that was, came from. And then they won 22-14 against Campbell on Saturday. Didn't even win super convincingly against Campbell.
It must have been
first-place vote?
This must have been a super fan of a media bias super fan of Jackson State.
I just don't.
Gotta be.
Or Deion Sanders, maybe a Falcons fan.
Could
maybe
be.
Someone who's a Coach Prime fan.
Well, that shouldn't be. Again, if that's the reason you voted for him, your vote should be revoked. That shouldn't be a reason you're voting for them for the number 1 team in the country. It shouldn't be. Stats Perform FCS top 25 as, again, SDSU, Sac State, Montana State, North Dakota State's at 4. Weber and Holy Cross are tied at 5. I can be talked into Holy Cross at number 5 more than Jackson State in the top 4. But Holy Cross I don't think is a top 5 team either. Chattanooga's at 7, Incarnate Word's at 8, Jackson State's at 9, William & Mary 10, Montana State 11, Delaware's 12, Idaho is 14. That's more where Idaho should be. They should be in those mid-teens, in my opinion. I know there are 22 or 23 in the coaches poll, but at 14 right now in the Stats Perform top 25. Their resume is actually looking pretty good right now. New Hampshire's at 19. Southern Illinois dropped to 20 after losing to USD and a backup quarterback situation there. Oh, my gosh. They have North Dakota State at 23 as well. Must be North Dakota.
North Dakota, yeah.
Yeah, so I need to fix that one. Let's fix that.
It's the first time in our history we've been ranked number 4 and number 23.
We're so good, we're ranked twice. See, nothing to worry about, folks. You got
patience.
You got 2 chances to be a playoff team, apparently.
That happened last week. You missed that. It was Montana State was ranked twice as well.
Really?
Yeah.
And now it's North Dakota State's ranked twice. So that there's some issues there, clearly. But whoever voted for Jackson State, I'm not going to get over that the rest of the show. I'm just not going to.
Get him as a guest.
I have to. Like they're just not the best team. I don't need to argue it because they're just not. It's pretty black and white, to be completely honest with you. Today's show, let's just move on. I'm just done with it. Today's show brought to you in part by Men's Hair Company, the only place you got to go for haircuts, waxing, shaves, beard care, and more. And 5 great Fargo, Moorhead, West Fargo locations to choose from. So go with the home team for your haircuts this football season. I scheduled an appointment today for later on this week with the great team there at Men's Hair Company. And also brought to you by the Spirit Shop. If you need to stock up for all your favorites for watching football, the Spirit Shop has you covered with a huge selection of beer, wine, and spirits at the best prices and great weekly specials. And the Spirit Shop located off 13th Avenue just behind Shields Home and Hardware, not too far from us here at the Theraldson Ethanol Broadcast Center. We'll take a break. We'll come back. Patience or panic? NFL edition. That when we come back.
North Dakota State football plays here. Bison 1660.
The Bison Hotline postgame show is broadcasting live this year from Applebee's on 19th Avenue North in Fargo. Come see the Bison 1660 crew live after every NDSU football game and register to win prizes including Bison 1660 t-shirts, tickets to upcoming games, and a whole lot more. Plus, take advantage of the great food and drink specials at Applebee's. Bison Hotline broadcasting live after every NDSU football game from Applebee's on 19th Avenue North in Fargo, right across from the Fargo Dome. Horns up.
Hi, it's Kelly, and I want to tell you about my great experience with Valley Service Mechanical. They were polite and very easy to deal with. They were knowledgeable and helped me understand every step of the process, from the initial discussion of purchase options to the installation. It was a top-notch experience. If you ever want to work with professionals, I would strongly recommend Valley Service Mechanical.
When your heating and cooling needs help and your plumbing is on the fritz, call Valley Service Mechanical, 701-293-5701. Online at valleyservice.net.
Homewood Suites wants you to feel at home. This upscale extended stay brand understands that being away from home can be challenging. So Homewood Suites in North Fargo has designed their amenities to make life easier for you. At Homewood, you can relax in a variety of suites with full kitchens, complimentary hot breakfast, outdoor grills, and recreational areas that make stays more familiar. When you need to be away, but you still want to feel like home, choose Homewood Suites by Hilton. Find out more and book a stay at homewoodssuites.com.
Code Green is coming alive! Bison football is back at home this weekend to host the Illinois State Redbirds. Our coverage starts at 8:30 a.m. with kickoff scheduled for 2:30 p.m. on Saturday. Coverage of Illinois State versus NDSU is brought to you by Red River Commodities. Red River Commodities is proud to be the middleman between trusted growers and food manufacturing customers. With top-of-the-line facilities, cutting-edge technology, and comprehensive quality control, Red River Commodities brings the highest quality products to your family's table. Learn more at redriv.com.
I'm Emily. I had my LASIK surgery here at Vance Thompson Vision. Being in the healthcare field, the highest technology is huge for patients. For me, that was the leading choice and why I chose to go with Vance Thompson Vision. Life without glasses in the operating room has been incredible for me. There's no more fogging. There's no more having issues with my glasses sliding down on my face. It's been great for me.
Call 877-522-EYES to schedule a free consultation.
Truck headquarters. Gateway Chevrolet has new Chevy trucks arriving daily. Buy your new Chevy Silverado at Invoice. Yes, Invoice pricing on new Silverados with a fresh look, new interiors, and larger screens with easy-to-use technology. Save thousands on new Chevy Silverados with 4 different motors available. Dynamic fuel management, Bluetooth, backup camera, Apple CarPlay, and more. Save thousands and enjoy the smooth ride in your new Chevy Silverado from Gateway Chevrolet. Find new roads. Details gatewayfargo.com.
The place you go for all your Bison news first. You've got the insiders right here on Bison 1660.
It's a Monday edition of the Insiders here with you. Andy, Rob, Micah, whole crew. Good to be back in. Bison Coaches show tonight, Bison Football Radio show tonight, should mention, with the head coach Matt Entz, also Rob Hipp on that one, 6:30 to 8, brought to you by Nodak Insurance Company right here on Bison 1660. You can listen to the head coach there. You can also listen to the Game Week press conference at 2 o'clock today, brought to you by Bonanza Egg. What are you looking forward to talking about with Coach tonight, Rob?
I just think, the bye week, obviously, they continue to work. We've talked about this. It's not an off week. There's no off time for the coaching staff or the players. So I'll just kind of ask what they worked on during the bye week, some areas of concern that they've identified that they've worked on, maybe just some of the self-evaluation. What did the coaches do during this bye week to kind of go back and look and see where they can improve and move forward as far as the rest of these 4 games go. So just kind of talk about that. And then, of course, we'll talk a little bit of Illinois State at the end of it. So eager to talk to Coach. Talked to him last week. We talked a lot of just season recap last week. This week will be more of just looking ahead and trying to get out there and take care of business versus Illinois State.
Obviously, like we said already when we had Josh Albrecht on, all of our game week coverage of NDSU and Illinois State is brought to you by the great team at Red River Commodities with Sun Butter. Sun Butter is the maker of delicious sunflower butters the whole family can enjoy. Sun Butter is free of the top 8 food allergens, including peanuts, tree nuts, soy, and dairy, grown in the tri-state area and produced locally at Red River Commodities, big national brand grown right here in the Fargo-Moorhead, West Fargo area, which is great. So Red River Commodities online, redriv.com. Simple ingredients, delicious flavor. Very much looking forward to seeing what Coach Entz has to say on that Bison Football Radio Show, and also at the press conference today at 2 o'clock and what they worked on during the bye week. This hour of The Insider is also brought to you by Dakota Bank. Dakota Bank is one of the largest egg banks by volume and the top egg lender in the Dakotas. They're committed to the producers and families that make our communities great. Visit their new Fargo location and find out how their team can help you today. Go with commitment, experience, and integrity. Go with Dakota Bank. Talked about the top 25 poll in that last segment. We'll get to panic or patience here. Should make sure we mention what happened with Weber State. So Weber State, and again, I'm trying to pick on a certain kid here, certain player. Weber State lost to Montana State 38-43, 5-point loss. Competitive, close game. I was looking up scores because I was a little out, on vacation, just not quite completely tuned in. So I looked up, how did they lose this one? And I saw that they had not 1, not 2, not 3, but 4 safeties, and all of them were because of the punts. Long snapper punting it over the punter's head. That is one heck of a way to lose a game. Yeah, you lost by 5, and that's 8 points on safeties.
All down in the end zone.
Yeah, just ridiculous. Have audio of it, too?
Offensively. And this one again gets away into the end zone.
Record.
There's a new FCS
just set the record.
I mean, at this point, I just threw my hands up in the air.
Yeah, that's not the kind of record you want to be setting. It was an FCS record for most safeties in a game. I thought, okay, did somebody get tackled in the end zone? No, they were all on bad snaps. That is, they've got to have tryouts for snapper, long snap. They got to do something there because that is inexcusable.
Some of them were over the head. Some of them were way over the head and to the side. It was beyond, if that happened in a game that the Bison were playing in, and that was the NDSU long snapper, oh my gosh, the boos in the Fargo Dome.
Oh, yeah, that'd be ridiculous.
And the young man who was doing it, he was returning snapper. It wasn't like, from what I understand and what I looked at, it wasn't like he was brand new. It was a returning snapper. There was some chatter about, a little bit wet conditions, 40 degrees, but still, you should, not knocking the kid, but 4? He's still on the roster this morning.
1 or okay, it happened twice at bad conditions, whatever, we'll move on. 4 of them in one game is bad.
That guy needs help.
Yeah, that can't be happening. So that was one way for the way that Weber State lost that game. You lose by 5, and you have 4 safeties on bad snaps. That's 8 points right there. This absolutely cannot happen. So that was something we wanted to make sure at least we mentioned a little bit from over the weekend with what happened in the FCS. But let's play some football bed music, shall we? Time for a little panic or patience. We play this every once in a while, usually with FCS teams or FBS teams even, college football. Are you panicking or are you going to be patient here? How about we play it with NFL teams instead? I'll give you, Rob, a couple of teams. I'll give you a team at a time. You tell me, are you panicking or are you going to be patient with this team at this point of the season? Because now we are, 2 months in, basically? Everyone's played 7 games, 8 games, something like that? Not that quite. 6 games? I think week 6 was last week. No, week 7 was last week. So
this was just week 7.
Teams have either played 6 or 7 games. A couple of weeks, or a couple of months in, just about. First off, the Tampa Bay Buccaneers, as we mentioned to start off the show, they lost to the Carolina Panthers yesterday. A Carolina Panthers team that had just traded Christian McCaffrey. They were starting P.J. Walker, former XFL quarterback, at quarterback. No Baker Mayfield, no Sam Darnold. Apparently Baker was kind of healthy enough to play, but they decided not to go with him. They have DJ Moore, but they had traded away Robbie Anderson, and they had fired their coach recently. The Buccaneers were favored by 14.5 points in this game. They end up losing 21-3 to the Panthers. They are now 3-4. Still, though, in that division, they are still leading it at 3-4, with the Falcons tied with them at 3-4. Panthers 2-5, Saints 2-5. Are you panicking, or are you going to be patient with the Tampa Bay Buccaneers?
I think if you take one guy out of the equation on that team, it would be a panic mode. And that guy, of course, is Tom Brady. But with him in there, I say it's patience. And I know you've lost against you go back and you lose against the Steelers. Then you lose, like you said, against Carolina. But I think because of Tom Brady only, and because of where it sits, and the NFC South is so terrible right now, that I think you can put this in a patience for the Buccaneers.
See, for me, it's almost two different answers. I have patience because, like you said, that division's terrible. Let's be real. The Panthers aren't going to go anywhere. The Falcons just aren't good enough yet. Remember, the Falcons could have won that game if it wasn't for that bad roughing the passer penalty that was against Tom Brady. And the Saints have... nobody knows what the Saints are going to do. Maybe the Saints can be good. They have an okay defense, but their quarterback situation is an absolute mess. So in terms of winning the division and getting in the playoffs, I'll have patience with it because, like you said, Tom Brady's Tom Brady. I'm not going to count him out. But there seems to be a lot of things off the field with Tom Brady where he's not nearly as focused as he used to be. And if they want to actually make a run, I'm panicking. Because the NFC is weak, but they look completely, not just beatable, but like if you're lining up the teams, who do you want to match up against? You want the Buccaneers right now, it seems like, because they're playing that badly on offense. There's just no continuity there, and their defense is getting a little bit banged up. Like, patience for the division, but panic for anything in terms of getting to the NFC title game or a Super Bowl, for sure, for me. Micah?
There was one play in that game that pretty much defined it for the Bucs. It was a touchdown pass. It would have been a touchdown pass from Tom Brady to Mike Evans for like 75 yards. Wide open, off the hands, bobbled it a couple times, didn't come down with it. That changes the whole mentality of the game, I feel like. I compare it to, I regret bringing it up, but Watson dropping the pass against the Vikings on the first play for them. Mm-hmm. It just changed the whole game. And it's just like, oh gosh, it's going to be that kind of a day. Mm-hmm. And it was for the Bucs.
The rest of the day, whole game changed after that. I agree with you. So we're kind of having a little bit of patience with the Buccaneers just because of the division, but it's been a bad start. How about the Green Bay Packers? When was the last time the Packers lost 3 games they were favored in? Against the Giants, the Jets, and the Commanders. Bad performances. Rodgers is face down. There was some quotes from Rodgers after the game. Their next game, I know they're 3-4. Now they go to Buffalo. They go to the Bills, who might be the best team in the entire game right now. All of football, they might be the best team. And that looks like a possible 3-5. This is what Aaron Rodgers had to say about that upcoming trip to Orchard Park.
I'm not worried about this squad. In fact, this might be the best thing for us this week. Nobody's going to give us a chance. Going to Buffalo and Sunday Night Football, the chance to get exposed, might be the best thing for us.
I don't think going to Buffalo is the best thing for any team right now, good or bad, because they're just rolling. Are you panicked about the Packers, who are 3-4, looking up at the 5-1 Minnesota Vikings?
Yeah, 100% panic because, look, there's been so much chatter. As you mentioned, there was chatter about Tom Brady and his offseason. Well, there's been a lot of negative chatter about Aaron Rodgers, too, and just how is he really that leader for the team, the way that he talks to younger players and doesn't even acknowledge people. I think that this is a panic situation for the Packers. As you mentioned, facing the Bills coming up this Sunday. The Lions not worried about that one. But, yeah, there's going to be a question mark there with the Cowboys and Dak back, and the Cowboys victorious over the Lions. So I think the Cowboys have a good chance at winning. And then you look at the Eagles as well. So they've got a very tough schedule down the stretch as they continue this season on. It is definitely panic mode right now for the Packers.
Let's go to the AFC. How about the LA Chargers, who are 4-3, just lost to Seattle. Now, Seattle kind of looks like a decent team all of a sudden. They're actually leading the NFC West. We'll get to that division in just a little bit. This is a Chargers team that's always had playoff aspirations. People think they're good enough. They got the talent to be a playoff team, even a team that can make a deep run in the AFC, but then every year they kind of let you down and they just don't live up to their expectations. Now 4-3, only a game out of first place. In terms of their overall aspirations and making any sort of deep run, are you panicked or are you patient about the Chargers?
It's a tough one for me. It's kind of a toss-up because we've seen glimpses to where they've done well, and then we saw them get smoked by Seattle yesterday. So at this point, I think for the Chargers, I think maybe it is kind of a panic mode. You've got to see how they can continue to go as the season goes on. I don't know, man. It's on the cusp, though. It's kind of right in the middle because they don't really have a difficult schedule going down the hill. If you look, they're playing the Raiders, hosting the Dolphins, Titans, Colts. it's not like they have a super tough schedule down.
Yeah,
but
next games are Falcons, 49ers, Chiefs.
I think
two of those three are hard.
I think looking out past those, though, maybe it is more of a patience right now for the Chargers. Still trying to define their identity, who they are, where they're going this year. I would put them more as a team right now looking at patience.
I'll be patient with them because right now they're a playoff team. They're doing just fine. But you got to start winning those games where you feel like that's just a game where you feel like they should win or be more competitive. They weren't competitive against Seattle, really. They just weren't. So they have a bye week coming up here, do the Chargers. We'll talk with Easton Stick tomorrow on the program. And then the Rams, 3-3, staring up at the Seahawks. It's coming off a bye week, but nothing clicking there. Are you panicked or patient about the L.A. Rams? Micah, what do you think about the Rams at this point? Obviously, the 49ers are also 3-4. That division's a little bit upside down of what we thought it would be.
The Rams issue is an issue that you don't want to have, and that's an issue up front on the offensive line. They can't protect Matthew Stafford. Matthew Stafford's not an elusive guy that's going to move around. He's a guy that's going to be in the pocket and get the ball to the playmakers. And they're not really getting the ball to the playmakers besides Cooper Kupp. That's their only guy that's kind of working right now. Robinson's been not that good this year, not meeting expectations. I am in a patience mode for 3 reasons. Sean McVay, he's a great coach. Stafford, and Cooper Kupp. Those 3. The defense, they've been okay, but I'm going to be patient with the Rams. They have a good enough offense. They have a good culture there. They've won before.
I'm patient, too, for them. And because one of the things that's the reason why they're playing so bad right now is injuries. A lot of injuries to that offensive line. They've had a lot of different combinations. Like you said, Matthew Stafford can't escape anything. He's not moving out of the pocket. He's just not going to. They'll get those guys back. They weren't season-ending injuries. So they got to figure some things out, but I think getting better protection, getting healthier will help them quite a bit because they're a team that has no depth. Because of all the picks they've given up and all that kind of stuff, they're very top-heavy, so when they lose their starters, their backups just aren't anywhere near good enough. So when they get some of those guys back from injury, I think they'll be okay. And that division has not run away from them. The 49ers have not run away from them. The Seahawks have the lead, but nobody trusts the Seahawks still. Like at some point, you feel like they're going to come back to not even back to the pack because they're only 4-3, but you feel like you'll be able to beat the Seahawks here at some point. And the Cardinals have been really bad. So I got some patience because I think that they can fix some things. I want to see how they look off the bye. Sean McVay probably changed some things offensively to get maybe some more explosive plays, get other guys involved a bit more. So we'll see how that works, and I want to see them get a little bit healthier. And then the one that's the most obvious of all, maybe this is more of a how much are you panicking situation, Rob. How much do you panic with the Denver Broncos, who are now 2-5? Brett Rippon not able to get it done. They lost to the Jets, and now they are a 2-possession underdog in London to the Jaguars.
I'll just put it like this. A lot of money that was paid for a certain quarterback that really hasn't responded the way that Broncos Nation hoped that he would. An absolute panic team right now. They have got to find a way to make use of Wilson and get this program back on track because it has not paid off. It is one of the worst investments you could have ever made in football that you didn't know about. It's like putting all your money in Bitcoin and watching it crash. That is Russell Wilson right now.
There you go. I like the analogy. I was on the vacation, flew into Denver, stopped by Empower Field to take a picture. Mile High, Empower Field, whatever you want to call it. They were boarding up the windows. Just getting, boarding things up. It was, taking down the facility. They're going to just demolish the place. They hated. It was very anti-Broncos in that city. They were not very happy about the Broncos, and for good reason. 2-5, and they gave up first and second round picks in the next 2 drafts. Currently, that's the 5th pick. They have the 5th pick in the upcoming draft, and they're trading it to Seattle right now. And then the 5th pick in the second round, and they're doing it again the next year. So what's interesting about the Broncos is, do you think this is a blip and next year you're going to be fine, or do you trade off pieces? Because their defense is elite, and it's fairly young, so they can keep just about everybody going into next year other than Bradley Chubb, they'll have to re-sign, but they probably will. So you could just, okay, whatever, we'll probably change coaches, get rid of Hackett, he clearly is in way over his head, and get someone that actually knows how to run a team and an offense, and we'll be fine next year. The offense will be better, and the defense is clearly elite. The defense is giving up 16 points a game. Defense is great. Or do you sell off pieces to try and recoup some of the draft capital you already gave away, but then next year your defense might not be as good. You might be losing some of the pieces on offense like Jerry Jeudy if you traded him, or Cortland Sutton if you traded him, and then your offense just won't be as good next year. So it's an interesting case of, okay, do you just be patient long term knowing you don't have any picks, or do you try and recoup some of those picks? So that's going to be the interesting thing with the Broncos, in my opinion.
I don't know what you can get right now because I don't want to trade away those young pieces of Sutton and Jeudy.
Bradley Chubb.
But that's defense. I don't want to get rid of a really, really good defense.
Exactly.
I'd rather get rid of Russell Wilson.
You assume the offense is going to be better maybe next year.
I think cut your losses, try and trade Russell Wilson, and see what you can get back.
I looked it up. If they traded or cut Russell Wilson, $84 million in dead cap.
That's okay. They can get a young quarterback, get the offense even younger.
That's not okay.
Cheaper contracts.
$84 million against your cap. You have to get rid of Bradley. You have to get rid of everybody at that point. So it's not a good spot to be. I'd be panicking not just for this year, but for the next couple of years future down the road, because you don't have the draft picks to draft somebody. You can't get a young quarterback. What are you going to do? Your first pick's in the third round.
Well, you can get one there.
Okay, good luck. Trying to find a franchise quarterback in the third round. Vikings have done that with Kellen Mond. That didn't go so well.
Tom Brady was found in the sixth.
Okay, yeah. Give me the exception to the rule.
Well, Kellen Mond could be an exception.
Actual rule. No, Tom Brady's the exception to the rule.
Well, the opposite of the exception can be Kellen Mond.
Now you're confusing yourself.
Should have been a good quarterback in the third, but now he
Bison
wasn't.
above average. I heard that last week. We'll just keep that.
It did go to great. Now it's went back to above it. Look, man, you talk
Slightly
about
above average.
The Broncos' second worst offense in all the NFL, worst in their conference. I mean, it's just unbelievable. Yeah. Only the Bears on the offensive side are worse than they are.
Meanwhile, Geno Smith is just sitting there as a good quarterback. I want to get Easton's opinion on Geno Smith when we talk to him tomorrow, and also that Seahawks team, because they were not expected to be good at all. Now, sitting at 4-3 on top of their division, a good spot to be if you are a Seattle Seahawks fan. We'll take a break. We'll come back, continue hour number 2, and wrap things up for you on a Monday with a couple of segments next.
This is the Insiders on your exclusive home for North Dakota State Athletics, Bison 1660.
So most companies claim they have good people, good product, good customer service, but the question is how often. We go the extra mile to take care of our dealers and our growers, and more importantly, their families and their customers.
Proceed tries to bring a family-like experience. Farmers, we want to understand what their challenges are. We also want to bring products to them that help them overcome those challenges so that they can be as successful as possible.
Need seed, think Proceed. Proceed.net, great seed at a reasonable price.
Theraldson Ethanol, the ethanol plant located in Castleton, North Dakota, is accepting applications for a process operator. Work 4 days on and 4 days off, night and day swing shifts. Applicant must have a general understanding of process and operating procedures and a willingness to learn procedures for the ethanol industry. Theraldson Ethanol offers on-the-job training and an excellent benefits program. Email your resume to hr@theraldsonethanol.com or apply in person at 3549 153rd Avenue Southeast in Castleton.
When it comes to your electrical needs, you only need one call, and that's to JDP Electric. Whether it's a small residential project or a larger commercial job, JDP's team of professionals will work with you closely to make the process easy. Their dedicated team of professionals can assist with any size project or idea you may have, and even provide a few ideas they see that fit your budget as well. Call 232-1991 today to experience the JDP difference, or online at jdpelectric.net.
Corwin Toyota's lot is overflowing with used vehicles, and it's time to clear them out. Find the biggest selection of used cars, trucks, SUVs, and vans. All makes, all models, all priced to sell. Shop their huge selection of certified pre-owned Toyotas. It's the next best thing to new. Certified pre-owned vehicles come with an exceptional coverage policy. Each unit undergoes a 160-point inspection to ensure only the best receive the certified seal of approval. Shop Corwin Toyota today. CorwinToyota.com.
Fall is about tradition. Tradition on the field with Bison football, and tradition in the cooler with Bud Light, the official beer of the NDSU Bison. When you're enjoying a clean sack or a perfectly timed touchdown pass, let the crisp, cold, clean taste of Bud Light tackle your taste buds. The only bigger crowd pleaser on Saturday is another Bison win. Whether it's in the tailgate zone, a couch gate at home, or inside the Fargo Dome, the Bison go best with Bud Light, the official beer of the NDSU Bison. Please drink responsibly, never drink and drive.
With the rising threat of cybersecurity attacks, you need to ensure your business is fully protected. Data loss, ransomware attacks, and other breaches can disrupt your business and damage your reputation. Consolidated Communications Cloud Secure Service safeguards your business from these attacks by securing your network, data, and applications. We proactively monitor your security to prevent intrusions before they compromise your IT systems while protecting your staff in the office or when working remotely. Visit consolidatedcommunications.com/cloudsecure to protect your business.
Gearing up for another season of Bison football? We've got you covered each and every day on the Insiders on Bison 1660.
I feel glorious, glorious. Got a chance to start again.
Here with you on the Insiders, Andy Rickoff, Rob Hitt, Micah Bindi. Another reminder, we're back to a game week, which means we'll have another post-game show, Bison Hotline, live from Applebee's, just north of the Fargo Dome. Stop out there. We'll have tickets to give away. We'll have yard signs, footballs, koozies, obviously great food, and the specials at Applebee's. I'm always partial to the boneless wings there, half-price apps, 9 to close, too, so great spot there at Applebee's. We're there for every game, every post-game show after Bison football here during the season. We'll have myself, James Hendricks, and Chris Hansen out there, hopefully to break down a Bison win against the Illinois State Redbirds. I know it's early in the week, but this is a Redbirds team, as I've said, that they won 3 in a row, 5 of the last 6. This is a good team coming into the Fargo Dome, Rob.
Yeah, one guy I'm keeping an eye on is rest of Bison Nation is their quarterback, Zach Anixted. Had another great game, 24-38, 274 through the air, a couple of touchdowns. And on the other side, and we've talked about this all season, through these first 7 games, just the rushing defense of Code Green just has not been there this season like we've seen as much of in the past. Micah, though, brought up a good point last week as he's talked about there's been seasons where we've given up a lot of rushing yards and still continued to be fairly dominant. But you go against an Illinois State running back in Winkers Wright, 185 carries or 185 yards. 185 carries would have been pretty awesome. 185 yards. Didn't have any touchdowns a week ago, but still, this is a young man, too, that's very powerful, and it's going to be another one of those backs that we'll have to keep an eye on.
Yeah, no doubt. They've got a good offense, but see what the Bison have done during the bye week here, and they've changed. There's a lot of self-scout that goes on. You can actually focus on yourself a little bit, fix some things, do things different in practice, so it'll be fun to hear from the head coach of how this bye week went, and from some of the assistant coaches, too, when we get a chance to talk to them during the week. David and Minot texting in again with some funny quotes here from the little tidbits. It says, with the panic or patience thing we just did for NFL teams, it's time for Tampa to jump ship. So panic on the Buccaneers. Time to pack in for the Packers. Pack in for the Packers. So panicking on Green Bay. The Chargers need to be recharged. Okay, a decent effort. Could have been better. I don't know if that means, does that mean panic or patience? Just get recharged. I think that's patience, right?
Electrical shortage.
Yeah, just a little outage. It's okay. I'll be recharged. The Broncos aren't cooking anything better or anything but better picks for my Seahawks, from Dave in Minot, who is a Seahawks fan. And he is right. I think it's the 5th pick right now for Seattle they'd be getting. They also would have the 5th pick in the 2nd round. They'd have the 1st and 2nd round picks next year. You also mentioned, we were talking during the break, and Micah mentioned the Philadelphia Eagles have a 1st round pick from New Orleans. New Orleans traded their 1st round pick in this upcoming draft to get back into the 1st and draft Chris Olave. So the Eagles have their own 1st round pick and the Saints' 1st round pick, which is like number 4 or 6 right now. Do you have the current odds or the current order over there?
The current order: Detroit at 1.
Yep.
Houston at 2. Carolina at 3. Philly from New Orleans at 4. Houston from Cleveland at 5. Seattle from Denver at 6. Pittsburgh 7. Jacksonville 8. Vegas 9, and to round up the top 10, Chicago at number 10.
There you go. So, yeah, some teams that in the top 10 that traded their pick. The Browns, too. The Browns traded their 1st round pick for the next couple of years also, and they are 2-5. We mentioned that with Jacoby Brissett, you can win some games, but they are not winning enough. They're 2-5 and quite a ways behind in that division. And so that's 2-5 is 7, so they still got 5 games before Deshaun Watson is even allowed to come back, and we'll see if more things happen by the time that gets there. That story is going to start to pick up some steam. The closer and closer you get to week 12 or week 13, whenever he's actually allowed to play or off of the suspension, that story is going to pick up a lot of steam. One story that did just break during our show today, running back Breece Hall is out with a torn ACL. Great young rookie running back for the Jets, who have been a nice surprise in the NFL this season. He tore his ACL and will be out for the rest of the season. That's too bad because he was one heck of a running back for the Jets there.
Nobody would have thought that the Jets and the Giants would have winning records at this point.
Vastly, way over 500.
Nobody,
not 4-3. They're like 5-2, right?
Yeah, both look like stellar teams, which is not we haven't been accustomed to that in a while for any New York team.
Yeah, but both of them playing well, and the NFC East is really good. Obviously, the Eagles, the Cowboys are fine. Dak is back now, and the Giants are really good. The Commanders are struggling quite a bit, but they did get a win at least this week against the Green Bay Packers. We're here with you live inside our Therolds and Ethanol Broadcast Center. Therolds and Ethanol is a proud partner with Summit Carbon Solutions, helping reduce the carbon footprint by capturing, transporting, and permanently storing CO2 emissions, cutting the carbon intensity in half. You can find out more online at theroldsandethanol.com. We'll take a break. We'll come back, wrap things up for you on a Monday next.
Hear the herd here. Bison's 1660.
When you're making decisions about your ag operation finances, you need access to the experts. This is Scott Solandic with Cornerstone Bank. Whether you're just starting your operation or looking to grow, we're here to talk you through those financial decisions. We're the kind of people who get to know you and genuinely appreciate your needs. If you're looking for a bank that's been specializing in ag banking for generations, come see us at Cornerstone Bank.
Cornerstone Bank, member FDIC, equal housing lender.
Here's your Red River Valley weather update on Bison 1660.
A 60% chance of rain and thunderstorms to start your new week. Temperatures will fall to 45 by 5 p.m. Winds 25 miles per hour with gusts as high as 40. Tonight, a 30% chance of rain, then partly cloudy with lows near 30.
This weather update brought to you by Brady Service Center in Moorhead. Brady Service Center is your one-stop shop for all of your automotive needs, and with donuts, breakfast, and lunch items daily, they're also your one-stop shop for all your road trip needs.
Need storage? Mega Storage USA is here for you. Whether you need storage for your boat, camper, motorcycle, or even a food truck, they have the perfect unit for you. Contractors need a safe place to store your trailers and equipment, or even a semi? Mega Storage USA has you covered. Each unit comes with 24-hour access, an electrical outlet, and light, plus top-notch customer service and more. Located off I-94 on the 29th Street interchange behind RDO in Moorhead. See all that Mega Storage USA has to offer at megastoragefargomoorhead.com or call 218-461-8158.
CHS, the nation's largest farmer-owned cooperative and a global energy, grains, and food business, is now hiring in Fargo. A variety of shifts and positions available, including quality assurance technicians, packagers, machine operators, warehouse workers, and a warehouse operator. CHS offers top-tier benefits: health, dental, vision, PTO, matching 401k, profit sharing, and a $3,000 sign-on bonus with starting pay up to $22 per hour. Apply online now at careers.chsinc.com.
No one wants to think about it, but the cooler weather and cold morning starts are right around the corner. Get your vehicle ready at one of the 3 locally owned Jiffy Lubes of Fargo. Oil changes are the #1 maintenance item that's neglected. At Jiffy Lube of Fargo, it's easy. No appointment needed. Just drive up and drive in for your signature service oil change and a free charging system check to ensure your vehicle will be ready when you are. Jiffy Lube of Fargo, proudly serving the metro area for over 40 years, where you can do more in a jiffy.
Are you ready for game time? Football and Fireball is a match made in heaven. And by heaven, of course, we mean Twin Peaks. Spice things up next game day with a shot of their favorite cinnamon whiskey. But first, kick off your game day with brunch. Get a good base to cheer on your favorite team. Brunch is now being served at your local Twin Peaks. Wake up with the scratch favorites you love and classic brunch drinks that won't break the bank. Contact Twin Peaks for availability and more details. Twin Peaks, eats, drinks, scenic views.
Dakota Bank is one of the largest ag banks by volume in the United States, and certainly the top ag lender in the Dakotas. For decades, Dakota Bank has worked with ag producers just like you who are committed to the producers and families that make our communities great. I'm Judd Graham, Market President of our new Fargo, North Dakota location, and my team is here for you. Go with commitment, experience, and integrity. Dakota Bank, banking, insurance, mortgage, and trust.
Equal housing lender, member FDIC. Trust and insurance are not FDIC insured.
If you're looking for a towing company that has graduated to the next level, you're looking for All Pro Towing. All Pro Towing specializes in heavy duty and light duty recovery. All Pro Towing is there for lockouts and jump starts and tire changes. Plus, they're available 24/7 for all emergencies. So when you're looking for a real pro, you need All Pro Towing. Save their number for when you need a tow. 701-541-3900.
This is Menley from Healing with Hyperbarics, and I want to talk to you today about how hyperbaric oxygen can help you if you've had radiation in the past. Radiation saves lives by killing cancer cells, but the damaging effects of radiation to the tissues continues. This leads to poor blood flow in these tissues, causing a range of problems, depending on which tissues are radiated. If you've had radiation in the past and struggle with any post-radiation injuries, book an appointment with us at Healing with Hyperbarics to see how hyperbaric oxygen can help you heal.
The Fargo Moorhead Diversion needs your help to transform our home into a safer and more successful place to live. When you join the ASN Constructors Fargo Moorhead Area Diversion Channel team, you will take responsibility for creating a safety net for 250,000 people right here at home. Be part of history and the highest profile project in the FM area in years. ASN Constructors need dirt movers, heavy equipment operators, laborers, and Construction Apprentice. You'll earn great wages and benefits, including 401k. Apply now at asnconstructors.com.
The Bison Hotline postgame show is broadcasting live this year from Applebee's on 19th Avenue North in Fargo. Come see the Bison 1660 crew live after every NDSU football game and register to win prizes including Bison 1660 t-shirts, tickets to upcoming games, and a whole lot more. Plus, take advantage of the great food and drink specials at Applebee's. Bison Hotline broadcasting live after every NDSU football game from Applebee's on 19th Avenue North in Fargo, right across from the Fargo Dome. Horns up.
Jeremy here at Horsch in Mapleton. Did you know that Horsch manufactures premier planting, seeding, and tillage solutions right here in the FM area? We are proud to be a family-owned business based out of Germany and would love for you to join our team right here in Mapleton. We offer competitive pay, full benefits, and paid family time from Christmas to New Year's. Please visit Horsch.com to view our current openings.
Here for you for all the Bison football coverage you can handle.
These guys do an unbelievable job, and you want to know what's going on in Bison sports, tune into the Insiders.
The Insiders on Bison 1660 and 92.7 FM.
Fun first show back. Been fun to be back with everybody. Fun to be back inside of our Therlson Ethanol Broadcast Center talking with Bison Nation. Great to be on the Horsch Cam. Horsch, farming with passion online at Horsch.com. Epic Companies Hotline's been great. Rick Electric email inbox. Hanging back in the rhythm of things a little bit. Looking at the Bison 1660 pick'ems. Getting ready for our tailgate, ultimate tailgate giveaway from Bud Light. Look on our Facebook page for the keyword. Will be coming out later today. The keyword for this week. And trying to win yourself that ultimate tailgate package from Bud Light, the beer, official beer of the Bison. We'll be getting ready for, obviously, pre- and post-game shows. We'll have Call Your Shot later. We'll have Sickies on Thursday, Bison Pick'ems, Top 15, all that kind of stuff. Fistful of Bourbon, James Hendricks Maneuver. Throwback Thursday will be coming. It's all coming back to me now.
You leave for a week, and like half this stuff goes with you.
It does, kind of.
But it was really the bye week is why it went away.
Was.
But it's back. I was a little discouraged. I really wanted to be at Sickies last week. I was just going to show up and just do it.
We could have.
I was just going to show up and do it.
Why not? Just go out there.
Because I miss those fried pickles, man.
Fried pickles are great. Burgers are phenomenal. Chicken sandwiches are off the chain. Burgers, beers.
Darla Jean's always there.
Darla Jean probably would have been there, even if weren't scheduled to have a show. She probably would have shown up. This hour, though, on a Monday, brought to you by the great team at Dakota Bank. Dakota Bank is one of the largest egg banks by volume and the top egg lender in the Dakotas. They are committed to the producers and families that make our communities great. Visit their new Fargo location and find out how their team is here for you. Go with commitment, experience, and integrity. Go with Dakota Bank. Again, Bison Football Radio Show tonight at 6:30 to 8. Head coach Matt Entz joins at 7 o'clock. Also, the Game Week press conference today at 2 o'clock, brought to you by Bonanza Egg. Bison Football Radio Show brought to you by Nodak Insurance Company. So, hear from the head coach multiple different ways today to hear about what's coming up this week in NDSU and Illinois State as the Redbirds come into town. Other games from over the weekend that would stand out, obviously, you had SDSU at UND was a very close game at halftime. And then the other news from that game is Adam Bach. Kind of waiting to hear what we hear from SDSU on that front. Adam Bach, Buck Buchanan, probably watch this guy. First-team All-American at linebacker. Phenomenal player for them. And he was in a boot with a brace on crutches during the game. So that's like three things you don't want. Boot, brace, and crutches. And that looked like a bad injury. Hear from him, hopefully the best, because he's a great player. Hate to see players leave the field. That was a tough one to see, but they have been banged up a little bit, and that would be a massive loss that might, not shift the power or anything, because they're still a really good team, but that's one where you lose a player like that, you don't replace him. You just try and kind of patch the holes a little bit best you can, but that was some news from over the weekend, and then you had the game with Missouri State and Northern Iowa. Missouri State officially completely done, dead in the water. Their season is over at this point. I don't have to worry about them running the table. Best they can be is a 6-win team now. Southern Illinois losing to USD. Some surprising results, I thought, from the weekend.
Yeah, and another big piece of news that we didn't even bring up when you weren't here, Cody Mauk was named to the Walter Payton Award watch list, which is awesome for an offensive lineman to be listed at that. It's going to be tough for him to get it because he usually goes with the skill positions and stats, but still, what a feat for that young man.
Just to be on the watch list and be someone that's up there, tells you everything you need to know about Cody Mauch. And hopefully the bye week was good for him too, because we saw him a little banged up against SDSU. So you need to make sure Cody Mauch is healthy. Also did see a couple of first down celebrations from Cody against SDSU. So starting to see a little bit of that flavor. I think we need some of that flair, some of that energy. I don't know, something a little bit different. Maybe we'll see that this weekend. Who knows?
We'll do it up in the booth, and then maybe it'll translate down onto the field.
That's what we're
I'll get Phil
about.
Hansen to do that, and I'll video it, put it on Facebook.
Yeah. Well, you don't need the video because you're on Behind the Mic.
That's right.
It's right there for you. Awesome. Thanks, everybody. Appreciate everyone listening in today. Thanks to Phil Hansen for joining us. Also, Josh Albrecht from Red River Commodities. Thanks to, again, Kyle Emanuel for filling in last week. Rob, Micah, all of Bison Nation. Appreciate you guys. Horns up. Go Bison. Talk with you again tomorrow from 11 to 1. Once again, press conference today, 2 o'clock. Bison football radio show tonight, 6:30 to 8. Dakota Refrigeration has been helping the Bison succeed behind the scenes. From their training room to their dining room, from milk to medicine, from ice to ice cream, Dakota Refrigeration has been serving Minnesota, Montana, and the